Feeling like I'm fresh out the water, put that on my daughter, I'm dripping Mystique. Pin to the pad of my author and marathon jogger, been running for weeks. Yeah, I tell no lies, my eyes on the prize, you lose by choosing to blink. I found a treasure by taking on pressure and pushing myself to the brink. Looked in the mirror to tell me that I'ma be wealthy, I said I can.
What's up, this is City Chapters Podcast. I'm your host, Bobby J. Today, we're doing Chapter 7 with my homie, Laquan Sanders, a.k.a. LQ.
Yes, sir.
A.k.a. LQ the Barber.
Yes, sir. You know all those.
Yes, sir. And he's the owner of Local Legendz Barbershop. So, of course, it just makes sense with City Chapters, Local Legendz. You know those two brands are going to coincide. He also is my barber. You know what I mean? He keeps me looking fresh. So, just got to have him on because me and him have just amazing conversations every time I'm in the barbershop with him. And I know it's supposed to take him an hour, but we be in there like 2 hours because we just be chopping it up, man. Like, that's just how our conversations go. So I'm blessed to know him, man. Blessed to have such a great barber, too, that can have these kind of conversations in the barbershop because it's me and him ain't talking about sports. You know what I mean? That's not my vibe. I know he knows sports, but for me, that's not my type of conversation. So he's well at adapting and talking to whoever about whatever fits their mold, and me and him just connect on some real levels, just about life and like the mysteries of life and just the challenges of business. So we originally met at a previous barbershop he worked at before he owned his own, and then we would see each other, mutual friends, whatnot, and then we learned that we both knew TS, the solution, which if you had listened to the chapter with TS, him and LQ are basically brothers. You know what I mean? They've known each other from way back when they were on the west side living. And so we just naturally became boys, and here we are. He's on the podcast. What's up, LQ?
What's up, man? Well, I'm just so glad to be here. It's an honor. Like you said, anytime I see you, it's always great conversations, great vibes. Me being a barber, I meet a lot of people, and not everybody are able to have certain type of conversations outside of, like you said, just the sports or just that type of talk. So just to be able to find somebody that can actually have these deep conversations and just conversations that have value, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's very important, and I appreciate that. So, I'm glad to be here, man, and I'm glad that you chose me. Number 7, come and chop it up, man.
Yeah, man. I've never had any conversations like that in a barbershop before, you starting to cut my hair. So it's pretty awesome, man. It's because it's like a little bit of therapy, a little bit of business, a little bit of just like, am I crazy, or how do you think the same way? Can we meet on these planes together? So it's cool, man. I really enjoy, sitting in that chair with you, man. So, what we do here is we're trying to get the backstory. I know that you have a pretty strong and turbulent backstory. So we just kind of want to dive into that and, talk about the lessons you learned about your time growing up and, just dive into that.
Okay. Where do we begin?
Yeah. Where were you born at?
Born Chicago. Originally moved to Tacoma. And was raised in Tacoma, Washington.
Were you young when you came?
Yes.
From Chicago?
Yes, I was pretty young when I came from Chicago. It's actually kind of crazy because outside of me and 2 other of my siblings, everybody else was born and raised in Chicago.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
So you're one of the younger?
I'm the youngest.
The youngest.
I'm the youngest. Actually, the 3 youngest came out here.
Nice.
And, was raised out in Tacoma, Washington, Hilltop area.
So your other siblings, your older siblings, they stayed in Chicago for their...
Well, they're so much older than me. So, like, my oldest sibling is probably so I'm 30 right now, 31. My oldest sibling's probably 11, 12 years older than me. And then they're close together as well. So it's 11, 10, 9, 7, like that. So they already was kind of like pretty much grown almost.
Right.
We all kind of had to grow up kind of fast. So they were still kids, but they were teenagers. You know what I mean? So but the lifestyle that they grew up in, they were really adults. So they were already kind of independent, doing their thing. So by the time we were growing up, you know what I mean, they were already out doing their thing. So we don't have as close as a bond as the last three, or my other two siblings that's closer to me that was raised out in Tacoma with me.
Right.
But we still have a bond.
Yeah.
But you know.
But they're still in Chicago.
They're still in Chicago. They're just so much older.
Right.
One of them, the second oldest, is actually out in Washington. Unfortunately incarcerated. He moved out to Washington maybe like 12 years ago, 13 years ago, and got incarcerated maybe a year or two after he was in Tacoma, fortunately.
Yeah.
So, you know, that's just unfortunately kind of the conditions I grew up in, seeing that and just really having to try to avoid those type of situations, you know?
Right.
So,
so you moved to Hilltop, Tacoma area. You're young. What was the household like you grew up in? What was it like?
So, to be honest, a lot of people probably don't know this about me because I kind of I don't really talk. I don't really talk a lot about personal stuff, but we're doing an interview, so
yeah, whatever you feel comfortable with, brother.
You know, I grew up. I was separated. The last three of the siblings were separated from the parents. We went into the system, foster care, and all that. So we had to go through that, adapt with, you know what I mean, going house to house for a small period of time, a few years, and then my auntie, shout out to my auntie, gangster for sure, adopted us, and she just happened to be living on the hill at that time, you know, and that's when the journey really started, because that's where I really started my roots and really was able to grow and adapt and learn different things. So like I said, going through foster care, obviously mom and dad wasn't there initially, you know, due to whatever circumstances they was due to, typical growing up in poverty, you know, if you know, you know, so they wasn't really around at first. So they were around, but they didn't have custody.
Yeah.
So
how young were you when you got taken into foster care?
To be honest, I don't really exactly know the age really like that, because you know, you go through a lot, so certain stuff you kind of block out, and that's you feel me, one of the things I don't remember exactly. Really I was pretty young, but I don't know exactly the,
like,
you know,
3, 4,
probably somewhere up in there. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. So, and then so they wasn't really around like that, but you know, you got my auntie. I see them from time to time, but they doing their thing in the streets, you know.
Yeah.
Now that I'm older, I understand, you know, growing up rough, not having resources and stuff, and just the environment you grow up in, you know, you tend to go astray, you know. So that's kind of what happened with the parents. So, you know, growing up without really parents, in a tough neighborhood. So if anybody knows about Tacoma, Washington, the Hilltop area, you know what I mean, specifically 8th and Sheridan, you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's pretty treacherous. So, you know, growing up without really a father figure, I got my auntie, so I got that mother, that, you know what I mean, that love and emotion were there, but just going through those, you know what I mean, as a young man trying to find myself in an environment infested by gang and drugs, you see what I'm saying? So, so you know, it's the typical. You get into
when you say typical, you mean like typical just from what?
From like,
because I mean it's not typical.
Not,
right? You know what I mean?
That's probably
typical. Unfortunately, from how you were raised, but like, but it shouldn't be typical at least, right? You know what I'm saying? But Hilltop. I mean, for anybody that's ever been in the street life, everybody knows about Hilltop. They're notorious in Washington as being one of the most predominantly like neighborhoods. Everybody knows Hilltop. Like if you know anything about culture and the streets, like you're gonna know about Hilltop. I had been on Hilltop one time to do something in the streets, you know what I mean? We was up there picking up something. And that was the first time I was like, I'm way outside of my element right now, being a white boy picking up a package on Hilltop. You know, this is way back in my day when I was in my street life stuff. And I just remember thinking like, yo, I could, like, things could go bad here real quick. Nothing did, but we had some homies approach us like, yo, what y'all doing up here? You know what I mean? And we're like, we got out of there fine, but it was one of those situations where we found ourselves in an environment where I knew like, this isn't what I'm accustomed to. I'd never really been in an environment like that in Spokane. You know what I mean? You go over there, we're told to go up here, and I don't know what it all was. It felt like a setup, but we ended up getting up out of there because we didn't even end up getting the package. But it just was all just, that was the only time I've had a firsthand experience of what Hilltop was like. And it just seemed wild. You know what I mean? You could just see how people were set up and all that kind of stuff. It was,
especially
it was
like
different.
back then, it wasn't gentrified per se, like how it's beginning and how it's been for the last 10 years or whatever. So it was a lot more freedom, I would say, out there. It was a lot more out in the open, whatever was going on, whether that was gang banging, whether that was shooting, whether that was selling drugs, whether that was prostituting. Like, it was in the neighborhood I grew up in, it was out in the open. So I grew up in a time where if you see everybody around you struggling, impoverished, really not having or seeing a way out, and the only ones that appear to have those ways, or at least the shiny, flashy things, or doing certain things that they deem not to be legal, what do you expect? These kids is growing up like me, growing up and seeing like we all impoverished, and then you get this guy selling drugs. He figures out a way to get his hands on some drugs, start selling some drugs, and now he's making a little bit of money and can provide for his family. What do you think the young man that's in the home, the broken home, where the single mother that's starving and are struggling to help feed them and keep the lights on, that young man's gonna grow up and be like, oh, I'm tired of seeing my mom cry, I gotta go out here and figure this out. And buddy over here, I can see him turn this into this, no problem. While mom's working all these hours and not getting, you see what I'm saying? So it's just a repetitive evolving door.
Cycle,
cycle, you know? So that's what I mean by the typical stereotypical impoverished neighborhoods, like, you know.
And that's, I like to, you know, ask those hard questions, like typical, but it is stereotypical of, you're saying you grew up in a stereotypical hood.
But that's the problem too, though. Is the fact that I could talk like it's so normal. Like, typical, and it really, like you said, it really ain't.
Well,
it's not normal.
I guess it is, right? But we don't want it to be. It shouldn't be. It shouldn't be normalized. It shouldn't be like, yo, it's just the way it is, you know, so we just gonna keep doing what we're doing. But it's hard. Like, once you're put in a certain environment, like, you can't see past that environment, you know, most of the time. Like, you got your blinders on. And this goes for people from all walks of life. For sure. And, you know, but in the hood, obviously, there's just a lot more dangers and a lot more treachery there that is enveloped there, where other people, the way they're blinded is like minuscule, maybe like white privilege problems or first world problems, like the things that they think are problems. They're like, yo, it's nothing compared to what these people over here in that same city are experiencing. But you don't see that world. You don't go in that world. That's not your world. But, you know, it's like, you, like, from the time you're young, you're downloaded by the stimuli of your environment. So when you are born in a hood, you are going to naturally be developed by the activities that you see around you. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just, that's where you were born. This is what you're around. This is what you see as normal and typical. You know what I'm saying? And me and Joe were talking about that, Joe Norcutt, on our podcast. It's like, you know, in LA, 3 options of what you want to be: an athlete, you know, like a rapper or a dealer, you know what I'm saying? Like in the streets.
Literally.
And the first two, those ones are harder, much harder to attain.
For sure.
But the street life, it's right there around you at all times, and you can get into it real quick if you want to. You know what I mean? Because it's available.
Or not.
Yeah, parents or not.
I don't think people understand really, like, when you grow up in those environments, like, just say, like, for example, like my auntie, she was very, very strict. And I understand, you know, she born and raised in Chicago in the projects. You see what I'm saying? Like, grew up in the projects, like, her whole life with her two sisters and then her brothers. So her, like, even with her perspective on the street life and being able to maneuver around there and try to do all she can to keep me from whatever, it's like, kids still got to go to school.
Yeah.
And 9 times out of 10, if you live in these neighborhoods, you're probably going to go to the same schools in these neighborhoods. So even if you ain't going outside because your parents is keeping you inside or keeping you in after school activities and all this, you still are in school with these same individuals that you're trying to avoid outside of school. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you're always bombarded, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
At an extreme level in some cases, you know, so.
Yeah, you can't avoid it.
Can't avoid it.
You can't, I mean, unless you just kept a kid in the house.
Now, I will say though, some kids do make the decision to go and hop in head first, straight off the deep end into some stuff that they know they don't have to and shouldn't have to, and the conditions that they're in wouldn't normally allow them to have to do that, but they do it anyways because of whatever.
I'm one of those kids,
you know?
Honestly. Like, even back in the day, like I mean, mine stemmed from being just so angry at the world. I was influenced by rap, hip hop. That's what all us were listening to.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so then I met some people in Spokane that came from more rougher upbringings, and like they gravitated towards me probably because they seen I had that anger and like I was that crazy white boy. You know what I'm saying? Like ready to get down. So obviously that's like could be a reason they would want me around, because they know I ain't, you know, like they brought me in on that on that premise that, oh, this white boy's crazy, like he'll do something for us if we need. And at a time that was true, you know, like, and I was never like no pawn, you know what I mean? Like ain't nobody ever telling me what to do. I was just about it because I was just so angry at the world, and I just got, you know, listening to certain types of music. Like I was heavily influenced by the Bay Area, like mob figures and like gangster music, you know, so I'm listening to what they're talking about and jacking people and selling drugs and all this kind of stuff. So I'm being downloaded with this information, and I'm bringing it back out. But I come from a family, not a perfect family. Nobody really does. A lot of neglect in my home, but no abuse. I just, I want to account neglect, the type of neglect I got from like my father as abuse, but it affected me, you know what I mean? Because I had no leadership at the end of the day. And I think that's a big reason most of us do get lost regardless of where you come from, is lack of leadership.
For sure.
And no mentorship, no initiation into what it means to be a man. Like you just like, when are you a man these days? You don't really know, you know what I mean? Because everybody as a whole around us doesn't seem to be growing up. You know what I mean?
With the wind, ain't nobody setting no standards.
Exactly, man. You got grown men acting like children, throwing tantrums, and it's crazy.
Which I get it, like, and I think we talked about it in a barbershop before. Like, what do you expect when you have a lot of these now men, but at one time were little boys being raised by only their mothers. So you don't get that balance.
No.
You know what I mean? You don't get that balance. You only get a lot of that emotional aspect, but you don't get that logic, you know?
Yeah.
So it's an imbalance, I feel like.
It is 100%. Like I've read, there's a few books that I've read, but one, it's all about initiation in the manhood and how we practice that for hundreds of thousands of years, you know, in tribes. Like once a male became a certain age, he was separated from his mother. Right. And it was time for you to become a man, and you went through the initiation rites of becoming a man. Mm-hmm. Like, in even some tribes, your mother was no longer your mother after this. She did her job in your infancy and got you to this certain place. Typically, it would be like from 8 to like 11, 12 years, you know, but they would separate you. And in some cultures, like, you weren't even allowed to be around your mother for a certain amount of time. And when you did see her again, you treated her as just another woman of the tribe, which held a lot of respect, but you did not go to her for these motherly needs anymore.
Because now you were a man.
But you still, now that's not every tribe, but this some tribes practice this. That book was really good. It's there's a book called Iron John. I don't think it's that one. I'm trying to remember the book. Can't remember it off top right now, but I think that's, you know, like you said, like, my mom raised me, you know, and she did the best she could, but at some point I started rebelling against her for a long time, you know, pretty much my adolescence. She would tell me to do something, I couldn't respect it because I needed that male mentorship, you know what I mean?
Right.
And, you know, I feel bad for what I put my mom through, but, you know, I'm making it up to her now. But
just that just wanting to react to everything, right, without thinking. You know, that's what that man Logic, like that book. I read a book. Actually, TS put me on the book. Appreciate you, bro. What is it? The Way of the Superior Man? Yeah,
that's a good one.
And it breaks down, you know, the feminine energy, the masculine energy, and how they relate the feminine energy to the woman, just because that's the way that they're designed, and the masculine energy to the male, like that, because that's how they're designed. But what type of thinking comes with, like, the logic or the emotional feeling and thinking, thoughts that come with that. So it's like, again, like, man, just that imbalance. So we got to figure out how to, you know, reestablish that balance, because it's like when you grow up, and the reason why I say that is because, like, when you grow up and you're a male trying to find your way in conditions like that, that imbalance starts to show up in your actions. There's a lot of people that I know, unfortunately, that ain't here no more, due to the grave or due to the chains, just because they overreacted. You know what I mean? Just because they just didn't have nobody to teach them. Just think one time for yourself before you know, every action does not require reaction. Wise man once told me that. Yeah. You know? And not only that, smart man learns from his mistakes, but a wise man learns from somebody else's mistakes. So just start paying attention and keeping our head on a swivel and realizing, like, dang, we can't continue to make these same decisions and expect not to get the same results. You see what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
Not thinking logically, acting emotionally.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, it takes individuals to break that cycle. I know Nip in an interview talked about we have to rethink the way that we react to certain situations that we've been conditioned to act a certain way too. Right. You know, like, oh, homie disrespect me, now I gotta, you know?
Right.
And I mean, that's what got him killed. I don't, like, the more that I've read into his case, it doesn't even sound like he was telling the dude that shot him, like, that he was like, bro, you a snitch. Like, he's telling him, like, bro, you like, there's a rumor going around that there's paperwork on you, bro. You should probably figure that out. But that dude took it personal and reacted in such a way that he took a legend from us over something that was probably a misunderstanding of the intention of what Nip was saying. But, you know, it's funny because, like, you know, we see the world from our eyes, and, like, sometimes we take things from people as being something that it's really not. And the bottom line is this is something that I've been working on and trying to master, is, like, you shouldn't let nothing from your outward environment invoke emotion into you. For sure. And especially another man, you know, or another person. Like, that means that person has control over you. Your outer environment has control over you. That person, and it's hard. It's, you know, like, you gotta be real zen out, bro, or tapped in to be like not let anybody or anything affect you. You know what I mean? But it's the practice. It's the practice
repetition
of it. And
repetition.
you know, I mean, I don't know how you break some of these cycles in general in our society, in the hood, in just normal life, you know, other than individuals like us who did come from those environments. Well, I shouldn't say that environment. You came from a certain environment. I came from a different type, but there's correlations in the places we ended up.
For sure.
And we're breaking the cycles of our past, you know what I mean? And what it was like at one time for us, and the way we were and the way we acted to the way we are now.
Right.
Like, that's something that you can take to others and help them see things differently, because I just never had anybody like me in my life when I was younger. You know, like if I had a mentor like me at a younger age, I'm sure I would have avoided a lot of stuff.
A lot of stuff, right.
I just know it. You know, that might sound conceited, but I just really think that's true. You know what I mean? Because like the way that I can articulate making mistakes and the reasons that you need to avoid them is not me just telling you no because I tell you so. No because trust me. No, it's no because look, this is the things and the experiences and the hardship and the struggle and the pain and the darkness that really comes with it. I'm going to really tell you about that. And you're not just going to gloss over it and tell you because look, I've been through it. You know, it's like that helps a little bit, but it's not enough, you know, for somebody that really is trying to dabble in that stuff, because they really don't see probably that there's any value for them or another option. Right. You know, so
like Kendrick said, he realized life is about perspective, right? So the only way you gain perspective is through experience. So sometimes we grow and we think we got all the experience needed to figure this thing we call life out. You see what I'm saying? And that's why I agree with you 100%. You were saying you don't know how we change it. What you said is how we change it is having people that have a perspective with experience that are relatable to the people you're trying to change. You see what I'm saying? So just keep on having these conversations.
Yeah.
And because that's the problem is a lot of people ain't having these different type of conversations, not the meat and potato conversations, because they don't have the experience, so they don't know. They just scratch the surface of the stuff that everybody else is talking about.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Something me and you have both talked about, because, you know, like I said, even though I didn't come from impoverished neighborhood, I came from Medical Lake, Washington. Basically grew up out in the country most of my life on, you know, at nice homes and decent environments, you know. But I had something happen to me in high school that just made me incredibly, you know, felt betrayed, felt all these different, just betrayal, which made me angry at the world, and basically the fact that I would never be that weak again, or I would never get caught slipping like that again. If anybody ever tried to do me like that again, I was gonna make sure. I wanted people to be scared. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, like you don't want to fuck with me because I'll go to the full length of measure to handle mine. Now, that's where I was in my mentality then, and I did go all the way. I mean, pretty much to the brink of all the way, you know. And what I mean by all the way is, I mean to murder somebody. You know what I mean? And like, that's just where I was at a certain time in my life, like ready to kill somebody if they tried me. And that's what I went to jail for, you know. Dudes tried jumping me, you know, 6 guys trying to jump 2 guys, and one of them got hurt badly, you know what I mean? And luckily I did not kill him. Thank God I didn't kill him. But at the time when it happened, I was just like, I don't care, you know what I mean? Like, dude tried me and now he got what he deserved because of it. I don't look at things like that now. I will try to avoid violence at all costs necessary, but I will protect myself if you do try me. So I still have that mentality. It's just much more mature, more wise. I will try to do what I can do to get out of a situation before it has to turn to violence.
For sure.
And I'm not nearly as arrogant. You know, it was like back then, I didn't go looking for it, but I was ready for it. And just having that mentality, like if somebody tries, attracts it. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah. Like it just bring
bullshit.
Yeah, it just bring, you know, like if you're like, yeah, I'm not trying to hurt nobody, but if a motherfucker try me, like, and you're thinking that all the time, it's the law of attraction. Like, so eventually situations always came up in my life at that time that caused me to have to get down, you know, and it, so to get through that and get to this place now where I have been in those dark places and learning how to forgive myself for having that mentality, but also hopefully, you know, through these conversations, being able to, you know, just impact others to start thinking critically about how we can change things in our society or how to better communicate these hard things that we really try to not talk about, you know. So
I think you made a great, or you mentioned a great thing or important thing. The fact that you were saying that somebody was trying to jump you, some people were trying to jump you, and then you reacted. The only reason why I highlight that, it may seem like a small piece, but to me that's a big piece, because growing up in these environments, you become friends with a lot of these people that outsiders deem monsters, right? And you learn these people, you know these people, and you realize maybe 7, 8 out of 10 times they have that same story. Maybe not that exact, you know what I mean, incident, but it's a story where they had to defend themselves. Somebody was trying them. And that time was their last time, somebody trying them. So the fact that now that you went through that, you have that experience and you can have that perspective. So now when we go back to fast forward or rewind, when you were saying how we help these people, we can identify that, and I know who you are. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not just gonna judge you and look at you as a monster. Now, don't get me wrong, some people out here just doing some crazy, wicked stuff just because. But I'm talking about a specific, you know what I mean? Yeah. Those individuals that, you know what I mean, they have a story, they have a reason why, you know. So a lot of times we always just want to throw rocks and you know what I mean, condemn them for an action that they may have done. But I have to remember that I once was that kid. You see what I'm saying? I once was that kid that people were saying, oh, he's this, he's that, he wouldn't amount to this, he wouldn't amount to that. And at the end of the day, I was just somebody who, you know, was just misunderstood, misheard, and had a lot of pain for whatever reasons. Nobody knew the story, but that didn't keep them from judging. You know what I mean? And looking and judging the books by its cover. So because I understand that, that's why I say, like, perspective and being able to be, people can be able to identify with the subject that's, you know what I mean, bringing this information, because there's levels to it, you know, and nobody ever wants somebody just, especially if you don't know the, like, it is like you don't understand the background, you ain't never been through it, like preaching and casting songs on, you know, nobody want that. You feel me? 9 times out of 10, person gonna be defiant. You know what I mean? They gonna go exactly. You feel me? You gonna tell them to go right, they gonna go left. Yeah. Because they gonna look at it as, you don't know where I come from. You can't identify. You don't know what I'm feeling. And you don't know what I'm feeling. Yeah. None of that. You see what I'm saying? So how can you help me? How can, even if you saying it's right, how do you know it's right for me? Because you don't know about this. You see what I'm saying? Exactly. So yeah, I do know what you're saying 100%, man. So I think that's an important point to highlight that, and we gotta figure out to deal with that problem. You know, how do we avoid these kids from having even feel like that? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? How you once felt, how I once felt, because I had this kind of a situation. It was some of the worst times of my life, but it was the greatest time in retrospect, looking back. It was what changed my life. You know, it was a situation where, and I'll tell it since we're here, My cousin, again, goes back to where I was saying, when you're impoverished, you see these people, somebody might be selling drugs, making money, taking care of the family. Now you look up to him because you have nobody else to look up to, right? So my cousin was one of those guys who, he's unfortunately he's deceased now, but when he was alive, he was doing his thing in the streets, was making a lot of money, and he was taking care of the everybody. You know, so me being the youngest, I always looked up to him, like, and I was his favorite little cousin. So he always had me around. I always seen money, I always seen jewelry. So in my eyes, I wanted to be like Big Cuz. At that time, I didn't know exactly what he was doing, but I knew what he was doing. I just didn't know, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
All the ins and outs to it, but I was like, I want to be like him. And then long story less long, he ends up getting killed as I get a little older. Back in I went to Job Corps in 08, so I think in like 07, 08, he gets killed, and man, it brought a lot of distraught to the family because, like I said, he was the breadwinner. Yeah, you know, he was the one provider for everybody. You see what I'm saying? So it hurt everybody, but it hurt me in a special place because that was Big Cuz. Like, I want to be just like you. You the only one I know getting it. You know what I mean? And giving me a little game. You know, I grow up not the best clothes, not the best shoes. Cuz, oh, hey, here, take these couple dollars, go buy you something. Or here, take this shirt. You know, it was back when you was wearing 3, 4X, tall tees and stuff. So it was way big for me, but it was a style, so it didn't even matter. Yeah. You know, so I'm rocking his clothes as a young pup. But yeah, man, he gets killed. And at that time, I was already like dabbling in the streets. I was already kind of doing my thing. I was young, 14, 15, 16 in that area. So I was kind of, you know what I mean? I thought I was a grown man, whatever. But when he got killed, it really flipped the switch in me, and it made me want to go full-fledged in the streets. And, you know, I eventually got caught with a gun. You know, I got caught with a gun because, you know, you know what go on out there. Yeah. I wanted to revenge my cousin because that's what I was taught. That's what I seen in the neighborhood. That's what everybody else around me was doing and was talking about and glorifying. So, dang, this person who's this statue to me is gone now. I really gotta hop off the porch. Before it was fighting and we was gang banging, we was selling drugs, and we was holding guns, but we really wasn't popping them at that point. Now I feel like, oh, we gotta pop them now because cousin is bloodshed. You see what I'm saying? So I got caught with the gun, and fortunately enough, I didn't go to jail. I did not go to jail. I had the opportunity to go to a military Job Corps, and I went to Job Corps, and that's really what changed my life because that's when I seen the life that I was accustomed to. It wasn't normal. It wasn't normal. Like you know, because Job Corps is really like jail, right? It was kind of like, you know, you got the day room. Like I've been I didn't. Fortunately, I never went to prison, but you know, as a juvenile, going to juvenile hall, or whatever. So it's kind of set up the same way. You got the day rooms, you got the bays, you got the, you know what I mean, all that. It's kind of like jail. So in Job Corps, that's how I'm treating it, because I'm in a place where I don't want to be. I just, you know what I mean, I just thought I was grown doing all this stuff out here, making a little bit of money, this and that, and now I'm confined to this. The only difference is it didn't have no fence around, and we was able to go off campus a little bit if you had the right color card. So I was like, man, we was getting jail food. So I'm like, man, this is jail to me. So we having conversations like it's jail, man. Like, you know. And I'm telling these stories or whatever, like, yeah, man, over here where I'm from, we doing this, and you know, people looking at me like,
damn, bro.
Like, this is, you know, what? Hold up, what?
Yeah.
How old are you? Like, you guys are doing what? And I'm like, yeah, man, y'all don't. You feel me? I'm waiting for a story, because back in over there, that's what we do. You know, the homies get together, we tell stories. Oh, remember when this, remember when that, remember, you know, that's just how it go. And it wasn't the same in there. And people looking at me like, bro, you tripping. Yeah. You know, and I went to Job Corps in Moses Lake. So, you know, this is back in like 08, 09. So, you know, Moses Lake was super slow then. So, it, you know, they was having people coming from Tacoma, Seattle and stuff in Job Corps, but it was mostly like just from like smaller places. So they're looking at like, whoa, what, huh? Yeah, and that's what like really like over a period of time like had me realize like, hold on, whoa. I was able to for once in my life, step out of it and be able to look inside from outside and get a full perspective versus me being conditioned, you know what I mean, being inside of the environment, you know what I mean, and having it's a difference between living in a state of survival. So when you're in those conditions, it's a state of survival, so you don't have time to think logically. So it was for once I was able to, you feel me, get out. Condition obviously I was still young, so I'm still, you feel me, still trying to like do whatever I'm doing a little bit, but I had enough time to really sit back, look inside out, talk to people that was still in it, and be like, damn man, this shit ain't normal. This shit is crazy. Like, I'm hearing about this going on, this is going on. I'm thankful I went to Job Corps. As soon as I went to Job Corps, second RICO case happened. They came and swept up all the homies. You feel me? When I went to Job Corps, I'm like, oh man, this is crazy.
Missed that, basically.
Just missed that, like, and all this is documented, like this on Google and stuff, like true story, like, you know what I mean? So it was a lot going on. Like, not even to make it even worse. It's crazy. I skipped a whole look. I'm just going back and forth, but I skipped a whole period. So not only did I get caught with the gun and had to go to Job Corps, but that same time span, my brother that I told you that's locked up, my second oldest brother, he got 36 years right before I went to Job Corps. He was on trial. I was going to the trial day. I watched him get 35 years. Right, I was there. That same time, my auntie was fighting the same one that adopted me, that was taking care of me, that was trying to keep me on the road. Yeah, I love you, auntie. You beat the thing. I love you, but I gotta tell it's part of the story. You feel me? You a gangster. She was fighting a federal indictment, 10-year mandatory, 10-year mandatory minimum. Yeah. You know, at the same time. So I got my cousin got killed. My brother, trial, just got sentenced. My auntie on trial. And then my brother, one of the last three I told you that grew up with me in Tacoma. Yeah. He's more like a father figure to me. He's 4 years older than me. He was sitting down, fighting 30 years. He's the one that told me to go to Job Corps instead of, it was either Job Corps military or they was going to send me to Chicago. Yeah. It was either those three.
Send you to Chicago for
just to out like there, just because my auntie that was taking care of me, she thought she was about to get at least 10-year minimum. Like the day that she went to trial was supposed to be sentencing. It was nothing less than a blessing. She didn't get no time, so I didn't have to go to Chicago, but I had to go to Job Corps. You know what I'm saying? Because I couldn't just sit in Washington and not do nothing because of whatever.
Yeah, you had a few options.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Like, you can go live with your family in Chicago, basically.
Yeah, they was kicking me out.
Like, you gotta kick me out the state. If you don't want to do these things, you gotta leave and go back.
Yeah. So, but like I said, you got all these things going on. You know me at one time. It's a lot of but it's been going on. It just happened. I went to Job Corps and a lot of it ended. Brother got sentenced. My auntie beat her case. My brother beat his case once I went to Job Corps. You see what I'm saying?
You're old. Yeah, the brother that was a little bit older than you, 4 years. He ended up beating his case.
Yeah, he ended up having to sit down for like a year beating his case. But while he was in there though, the only reason why I went to Job Corps is because he just happened to call the house. Yeah. My auntie's house, and my auntie was crying. This is when you know what I mean, the gun just got found and all this other shit. So she crying to him. This is what they're telling me later on. I'm not even knowing all this shit happened, right? So she crying to him, whatever. Like he be coming out of control. Like, I don't know what to do. I'm trying to kill him. Why is that? Like he's about to be just like you and everybody else. So first time, like, I look up to my bro, cause bro from the streets, bro, gangster. Like, you feel me? I've been there surrounded my whole life. I've been around for real gangsters. I don't just say that to say that. Like, for real, like, for real gangsters. And shout out to bro, because first time ever, he cried to me. He fighting 30 years, some serious shit, kept it solid, didn't say shit. I love you, bro. He know who I'm talking to, you know, but he kept it solid, but he cried to me. He thinking he gone. He cried to me, bro. Change your life. Promise me you're going to go to Job Corps. You're going to change your life because I'm gone. Yeah. Other bro just got sentenced. At this time, we didn't even know. My auntie didn't beat her case yet, but this time we thinking she finna get 10 minimum too. Yeah. You feel me? I'm out here wilding because Cuzzo just got killed. You feel me? I'm trying to slide on something. You see what I'm saying? So shout out to him, man. I promised him, like, man, you finna get this time. I'm the last one. I'm the youngest one. I got to do something. If it don't happen with me, it's OVA. You feel me?
Yeah.
I'm going to Job Corps, man. I went to Job Corps, and like I said, I got the perspective and everything else. The LQ that people know today is all from Job Corps. Getting out of Job Corps, maybe couple years after that. But you know what I mean? That's all that started from Job Corps on. What you're getting today, you feel me? So, which is, you know,
same thing with TS. It sounds like, you know, thank God for Job Corps, which
it saved my life for real. And I hated it at first. Like Jess to tell you, I was wilding in Job Corps too.
Yeah, I bet.
Like I was wilding in Job Corps. Like a lot of people don't know this. They voted to kick me out.
Yeah.
It was like, he gotta go.
TS got kicked out, right?
He that was after I left. Then he got
kicked out. I think.
But they were trying to kick me out. They all voted for me to go.
Yeah.
And then the lady that owned it, she rocked with me. She was like, "Hey man, we gonna give you one more time. Do you want to be here?" And remind you, my auntie, she just sent me a gift package. She was like, "I'm so proud of you. You changed it." She don't even know I'm wilding. I'm wilding. So I just get the gift pack maybe like 3 days before I'm finna get kicked out. She still don't even know this. It's crazy.
Yeah.
So they vote to kick me out. I'm like, damn, she just sent me the gift pack. I gotta go back to Tacoma. She gonna be like, what the hell? You feel me? I thought you was doing good. So the lady talked to me like, hey man, I'm gonna give you the opportunity if you want to be here, man, because I rock with you, whatever. And from there on, I said, all right, I'm gonna be serious. Like, I'm gonna stop playing games for real, just with life, period. Because I was playing, I didn't, you know what I mean? I didn't feel like I had too much to live for. So I was playing, didn't care, you feel me? What happened along, you feel me? The journey is just whatever, you feel me? I'm gonna do it my way though. And they gave me that chance, and I graduated from there. And shit, everything else is, you know, it was up from there.
Me and Joe talked about, he was in some program that took him camping outside of LA. And he's like, this time that he had went, there was a bunch of stuff going on in his neighborhood. So he was like out camping during this time with some gang stuff in his neighborhood. And it gave him that chance to see like a different perspective of the world, you know what I mean, outside of this normal environment where all this stuff's going on. You take a young man camping and he's like, yo, this is peaceful out here, this is different, like life doesn't have to be that way. So I think, you know, that opportunity for you, instead of you going to jail, which probably would have just kept you on the trail, you would have probably done a little couple piece and came back and been back into it.
All the homies went to jail. It's all bad. Most of the time they come out more about it, even, you know, worse than when they went in.
Yeah, most of the time.
For sure. I mean, it happened to a lot of my homies, for sure. I got so many stories. So many stories of homies getting killed before they can even find it. Like Nip said before, only regret is he was gone before he was even able to find his potential. You feel me? Like, I got a countless number of homies who's gone before 16. Like, that's when I'm 31, so from like 12 to maybe like 17, that's when really a lot of the politics in Tacoma, specifically the Hilltop and whatever else, that's what a lot of that stuff like started. You know what I'm saying? So it was a lot going on around that time. So it was like, it was either you was gonna be full-fledged or you was gonna be, you feel me, out the way. And a lot of times the ones that was out the way is because they just went to prison. You feel me? Besides a few like me that I got easily could have went to jail, pistols, been caught with weed at school, you feel me? A bunch of different occasions that just none less than a blessing. Just was like, all right, we just gonna let him, you feel me?
Yeah.
You feel me? We just gonna let him, you feel me, slide for right now, let him, you know what I mean, do what he do. But a lot of them can't say that. Unfortunately, a lot of ones I grew up with cannot say that. No. Man.
Yeah, something I was gonna say earlier is like, even though we came from different environments, but we went through similar things, for the fact that we really came out of it all unscathed with the lessons, You know what I mean? Really, we just got lessons, but we didn't get destroyed in the process, where a lot of people destroy their lives and their opportunities are almost gone, or their life has been taken. So obviously, you know what that is. I mean, there is no more chance. And I know I have been close many times to death. I know from what you've told me, you've been there too.
For sure.
And there's always that question of like, how did we get through what we got through, and given these endless opportunities to become the men that we always deep down probably wanted to be, you know what I mean? But getting through that pain and that suffering has been one hell of a ride for me. You know, like, I'm still messed up from the decisions and the life that I lived really only for a short time of my life, you know, like 6-7 years probably, you know, where I was really, and I'd say 3 years where I was really heavy into it, like really just off the deep end, like full, did not care what happened. But you know, for me, what got me out of that environment, out of that mind state, out of that repetition that I had fallen into, was going to jail for 6 months, you know, and me getting outside of the environment, outside of all those elements, hanging around these certain type of people, helped me see, like, what am I doing? You know what I mean? Like, why am I living this way? And
really just what else is possible? Like, I feel like that was one of the biggest lessons I learned going to Job Corps, was like, there was something more. Literally, like, I can't tell you, like, I can't make this up. I used to think, like, I wanted to be the biggest drug dealer because of my cousin, and just the biggest gangster because of my brother. You know what I'm saying? So that was like, that was my idea of life. You know, you grow up watching these movies that have an impact on the culture, like Boys in the Hood and Menace to Societies and the Colors and the South Central, just to name a few. You grow up thinking, oh, that's life. That's what I want to do, because that's what we praising. You know what I mean? That's what everybody's glorifying. So that's what I want to do. You see what I'm saying? Until you are out that environment and you're able to see something different, like, hold on. Well, it don't take a rocket scientist to understand, man. Doing the same thing and expecting different results is insanity. You know, you don't take the smartest man in the world to realize that. So, but it does take for you to be able to see something besides that.
Yeah, exactly.
To be able to compare and contrast.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
For sure. But
I mean, we are victims to our environment. It just is what it is. Until you're able to break out of that environment by a blessing or by choice. But, you know, most of the time it's guidance from a higher power or whatever it might be. I mean, could be by chance, whatever way it happens, regardless. Once you get yourself out of that repetition, that same environment, if you care anything remotely about yourself, you're gonna be like, oh, I don't have to keep this behavior up, right? And I can change my life. These people right here, they're not living like that. They seem like their lives are better than mine and better than where I come from, so why can't I do that too? You know, mainly for me, I just, like, once I was in jail, I realized how pathetic it is in there. It is pathetic in that place, yo. Like, just being around these people, most of them are pathetic, straight up. You know what I mean? Like, it is what it is. Now there's the real ones and the solid ones, but they're very few, you know, in there. Most of them are drug addicts and fools, straight up. And you know, it doesn't mean that you can't learn your way and make changes in your life, but most of those people in there don't want to, you know what I mean? It is what it is. I was one of the very few I know that was in there during the time I was, where I was like, you know, I had to be about it in there because you can't be weak, you know what I'm saying? But I definitely started like plotting out business plans. I started thinking about other things I could do other than making money the way that I was making money, you know, and I definitely started thinking about, you know, my take on violence and like why I was so violent. And I had to use some violence in there to protect myself and my name too. But, you know, sometimes I do believe you gotta do what you gotta do. I don't promote violence, but I do promote protecting yourself, you know what I mean, at whatever cost that is, and your family. So, but for me, you know, that was the first time like where I just got outside of what I was doing and was like literally forced to sit down and look at this like, what am I doing, bro? Like, why am I doing all this? I don't need to be doing all this. And that changed my life, you know. And I know many people probably don't have faith in the justice system, but for me, it probably saved my life, you know, and I got just what I needed. I think the 6 months is baby time. You know, I know people, my older brother, you know, has done a lot of prison time. So I grew up with my older brother. He's about 14 years older than me, being in prison most of my life, you know. So, you know, there's a lot of correlation. Even though we don't come from the same exact environments, we still experience a lot of the same things, you know what I mean, that kind of change the trajectory of our life. Because I think we're individuals. Anybody that knows us well or speaks to us knows that, you know, there is a higher purpose for us than gang banging, living in the streets, selling drugs and all that, you know what I mean? And it's obvious to me from my perspective that there's been something at play in our life to get us out through those things, and then to have that opportunity to build businesses that really stand for something and teaching, you know, or like at least having these conversations about how we need to rethink culture and what it means to be a local legend, you know, and what it means to be even what it means to be gangster, you know what I mean? So I mean, everybody's gonna always have their different take on what that means, but the biggest thing for me is like learning what it means to be a man, you know, truly, because we just aren't having those conversations enough, you know, what it means to be a man, you know, and what that entails.
For sure.
So
I think you made a great point, man. I feel like the beauty about the whole thing is being able to be one of the few that do make it out, you know, and being able to see it, have a vision, be able to make it out, but not just make it out, but being one of the successful ones. Like you're saying, being able to build businesses. So it's like when you're able to do that, now you're able to teach, you know? So now, excuse me, people. So,
we can cut it out too.
But now you can teach. You could teach somebody that once was like you how to, you know what I mean, figure it out. Because one thing is, everybody likes the glitter, the glamour, but we all seen the ones make the money the legal way, and then the feds come take it all as well. So it's like everybody want to be successful, but when you can do it legit, like build business, legit business, and be successful, feds can't take it away. Now you can now enjoy it, you know. So I feel like that's the beauty about I don't know, your business situation, your financial situation. We might not be exactly where we want to be financially, but we're at the start, which is getting out of a situation, out the struggle, and being able to have perspective to, you know what I mean, head forward.
Yeah,
so
man.
Not everybody can do that, man.
No, it's hard too. But man, getting out the game, I look back at it and I'm like, man, I can't believe I was really living like that. You know,
I say it all the time.
It's insanity, it's really, especially for somebody like me. I would say it's more insanity because it's like I didn't have to do all that. I could have went to college. I could have played college soccer. I could have done a lot with my life. You know what I mean?
For sure.
But I'm over here thinking like, nah, I'm going to be on this shit, on the bullshit, really.
Definitely.
You know, but at the time I couldn't see no different, man. I was so wrapped up in my anger. I mean, that was really the cause root of why I got so lost, is I had so much anger. And I came out the womb angry. Like, my mom tells me stories when I was a baby. I used to be like, have these screaming fists, and I'd hold my breath and just stare at her in the eyes until I turned blue and passed myself out. And I'm like not even a year old doing
this. It's in your DNA, huh?
I don't know if it's the DNA or just past life or what it is, you know, about me that just came out angry. But I've always, you know, I do have that fiery side. There's no doubt about it. And learning to control it and transmute that energy has been a challenge for me. But I do feel I'm in control. I do think I have a good balance and control of it now. I'm not nearly as angry as I used to be, which obviously keeps me out of a lot of trouble. You know, honestly, I think after jail, I had fear of my anger. You know, and so I had tried to learn how to suppress it, and then it would bubble out in other ways. You know what I'm saying? But now I'm more like accepting of that side of me and understand it is a side of me. It's a useful side of me. It's just got to be channeled correctly.
I agree 100%. I think with me, I think it's like it was a gift and a curse. At that time, I feel like maybe a curse because it got me in situations I probably shouldn't have been in or wouldn't have been in if it wasn't for that. But the gift came out the end, retrospect again. Like, now I got a message, you know? Like, go back to, like, now building businesses and me being this new, kind of like a rebirth, you know? Being this new me. It's like, now I got purpose now. Now I got a message and a purpose.
Definitely,
because you feel me, I seen some things, I experienced some things that I don't want, you feel me, experience and see now that I got kids as well. It's like there's no way I can allow them to experience some of those conditions and situations that I had to endure. And any other kid, you know what I mean? So it's like, now that's what filled the fire to me to get on my grind and do what I'm doing, you feel me, with the whole brand. And I know with what you're doing, City Chapters, I feel like from what I know and what you told me, I feel like a lot of that you went through filled what we're doing now. Or feel what you're doing now as well.
No doubt,
so,
man. No doubt.
I feel like I always say, there ain't no hustle. There's no hustle without the struggle. Like, you got to go through it to get to it, you know?
I've been learning that, man, a lot more lately. The struggle it's all part of it. Like, you can't fight the struggle. The more you fight the struggle, the more you're gonna prohibit your growth, essentially. Like, now it depends what your struggles are. If you're making bad decisions and you dealing with the consequences that are making you struggle, that's foolishness. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's something you can change. Right. But when you're trying to do business, when you're trying to build a life, and the struggle that comes with that, you got to understand that that's part of it, and it's never going to go away. It's never going to go away. No matter what you do, you might have your moments of nirvana. You know what I'm saying? You might have those moments. Even an enlightened individual still struggles. It's just how you look at struggling that makes somebody enlightened compared to somebody that is in a victim mindset. And that, you know, that's a life work, you know. That's why masters are typically old. You know, like, young masters don't exist because
it's a marathon, it ain't a race. It's an ongoing process trying to learn, because life is not the same for each and every.
No.
You see what I'm saying? So for sure, just, you know, just got to go through it.
Gotta go through it.
You got to go through it. And speaking of going through it, man, that's really what the brand Local Legendz, if y'all don't know yet, I'm the barber here in Spokane, Washington, 1917 East Sprague. Not only am I the barber, we open up a salon next to the barbershop on the 5th, July. So come tap in with your boy.
On July 5th.
You know, July 5th, we're going to try to bring something new to the city. You know what I mean? Bring something bring something new. Barbershop, full salon combined. I don't know if they're doing that out here. I ain't seen it yet, so I think I'm the first. I'm just saying, if they do it after me, I don't know, but I think I'm the first. Nice. But yeah, man, but Local Legendz, just the name alone, you know, just, you know,
strong name.
How I look at it, man, it's like, me personally, it's like a status symbol, right? Represents who I am, where I come from, where I'm trying to go, you know, the journey and what it takes, all the ambition, resilience, and perseverance, you know, to get to that.
Yes, sir.
So I feel like I would like to speak for like the underdogs, like people that have background, that come from where I come from. When people were saying you couldn't do this, you wouldn't do that. I don't have a high school degree, GED, thank you, Job Corps, but I don't have a high school degree. Job Corps when I was 16 years old. You see what I'm saying? But now I own business and the building that the business is in. Yeah. So the message is, don't let your past define your future.
No.
You know, like I was once I'm still an underdog. They still, the way I look, the way I talk, the way I act, they still like, man, it just don't match. Like, how's he doing this? How's he doing that? You know? But I'm here to tell y'all, man, any and everything is possible, you know? Any and everything, as long as you believe in you. In our dreams we trust, you know? For sure.
Yeah, man.
You know, for sure.
All right, so let's build up to you getting to owning your own businesses. So you go through some of those turbulent times growing up in the environment you did. You get caught up with something. You go to Job Corps. Job Corps changes your life. So where do you go after Job Corps?
I'll go back to Tacoma.
Tacoma? How long were you there for?
I was there for a while. Actually,
sorry to interrupt, but you also met your wife.
I was about to say, I met her in Job Corps, and then she moved back to Tacoma with me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got you.
Yeah, and then
she was from Moses Lake.
She's Royal City, which is
right there.
Right there. Smaller than Moses Lake, so I say Moses Lake. But and then we went to Tacoma, and I start. You know, I'm a little older now.
Yeah.
So I start getting it. Are we recording?
Yeah.
Oh, I was.
It's all good. We can cut that part out.
So
we'll just cut it.
So we get to Tacoma, and I start, you know what I mean, getting back to, you know what I mean?
Just natural to fall back into some of the stuff.
Not as determined as before, because like I said, my cousin died early on before I went, so it was fresh. So I was, you know what I mean, I was kind of determined out there. So coming back, you know, I told you the sweep just happened. You know, the feds came, they swept everything up. So I was conscious of that as well. So I wasn't going too crazy, but I was, you know, tiptoeing more and back to the point where it got to, you know, and we couldn't really afford. I ain't never told the story. It's crazy too. What sent us to this side of the mountains is, we got evicted from our spot. You know, at this time, I'm still young. I'm still trying to run the streets, kick it with the homies. Job, what? Nah, man, we outside. Right. So at this point in time, she was the only one providing, and she could, you know, there's a lot to deal with, especially over there, man. Everything's expensive. And you gotta, you know what I mean? You gotta go hard over there. And we're young at this point, fresh out of Job Corps. Really don't have no experience, not living on our own like that. You feel me? So yeah, we got evicted and forced us to. Well, it really didn't force us to leave. It was one of them things that I was selling drugs, but I told myself that I didn't want to sell. I didn't want to sell crack cocaine because you know, it affected family members. So I didn't want to do that. And you know what I mean, my cousin getting killed and some other stuff. So I was like, man, I don't really want to do that. So it was either that, or it was really that at that point, because at that time, my mentality wasn't get a job. I just, you know what I mean? I just didn't even know really how to go. I knew how to go put an application, all that, but it was like that just wasn't the mentality. That's not what we was taught. That's not what we was shown. That just wasn't it. So it was either sell drugs or not. I found out my girl was pregnant. she was like, look, man, we could stay or we can, you feel me? We could go to my people, man. My people got some, it's in the cuts. It's different from what you used to. It's like farmland or whatever, but it'll at least get you out the way for a little minute. So, you know, I made that conscious decision. Like, you know what? You pregnant? Let's roll out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Smart choice.
You know, we went over there. I was able to get really my mind right. Just get into a pattern of just going, consistent pattern going to work. Like doing like normal stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just a 9-to-5 deal, going to work, coming home, or doing all that. So I did that for a couple years and realized fast, no, it's not for me. I always had a problem with authority. Like, you know what I mean? Especially somebody that I feel like wasn't necessarily smarter than me at what they were trying to direct me and tell me to do.
Yeah.
It's like I've been working here damn near longer than you, and you trying to tell me to do this and tell me I'm doing this. It was just a whole bunch of just
micromanaging.
Extra. Yeah, just a whole lot of extra that I just and the fact that I spend all this time here and get pennies on a dollar, and I know how much we all make in you. You see what I'm saying? So I just never, that just wasn't, it just didn't make sense to me. You know, my first job was my first, it wasn't even a legit job, but I took over my brother's paper route when I was like younger, not even old enough to work. So I already had the entrepreneur spirit, you know, because paper route is not a typical job. It's kind of like you got to manage yourself, you got to do that. And I was doing that as a little boy. So I already had that, independency and go-getter, and then getting into drugs and whatever that is. Like I already had that in me. So I already knew, like, coming here, spending all this time for this to just go, and it was nice money at the time, you know, not to brag or nothing, you know, backyard was 100 acres, you know, so
where you were living in Moses Lake area?
Yeah, I know, yeah. So I had a great job, you know, 100 acres, like this is stuff, not to brag, but this I tell this story to tell people, like, sacrifice is definitely needed to achieve your goal. If it wasn't for me turning down 100 acres and moving to Spokane to become a barber.
Wait, I'm sorry.
Yeah. I'm a double back, but yeah, I moved to Moses Lake, was there for a couple years, and then moved to Spokane.
Right. But the 100 acres, I want to talk about that.
Yeah. We gonna get back to the 100 acres.
Yeah. So you lived on a piece of land with
a piece of land
acres?
With my backyard was 100 acers. TS been there.
The house you were living at?
Yeah, it was like a manufactured home.
Damn.
A newly remodeled.
But you guys like owned the land at the time, or were
no? We were just renting it all.
Renting it all.
Yeah. So I didn't own no land at the time. My girl owned some land. It wasn't no 100 acres though.
Yeah.
She owned some land, but the property, I was, you know, we was living swell.
Hell yeah.
You know, go outside and shoot the guns in the backyard.
Yeah, which we gotta do, man. I'm getting a new pistol here soon. It's just getting through the background stuff right now.
Oh yeah, for sure. Let's do it.
We're gonna go do some shooting.
Oh yeah, we definitely gotta do that. I'm all for it, man. But yeah, man. So going to Moses Lake, getting in that routine. I worked at this factory to where, like, they paid a lot, but there was eventually a cap. So what I seen early there is I only worked there for 2 years. It only took me 2 years, and I was here. Like, oh no, this ain't gonna work. We gotta figure something else out. Or it's back to Tacoma doing wild stuff. So I was what I seen there was a lot of people will come there early, like 17, 18, straight out of high school. Or a lot of them were like immigrants too, so they wouldn't have a high school diploma, so they would come there even before high school or whatever, and they'll be able to get a job because it was a plant, and they'll get paid all like a decent wage starting off, and then you can work your way up to whatever. So it's playing decent, but what I realized, it was 12-hour shifts, and it was day in, day out. So it was like nobody ever had time to do anything outside of working for that company. Like even when you had the days off, you were too tired to want to even do anything to enjoy the money. So I just seen that. I seen how, like, people would be like, oh yeah, I've been here since I was 18 years old, and they're 60, literally, no exaggeration, 60 years old, talking about being here since I was 17, 18 years old. You know what I mean? Because they got caught up in and just, you know what I mean, a routine. Yeah. And I realized Nah, that wasn't for me because I feel like my purpose was bigger than that. I know I didn't make it through all I made it through just to, you know what I mean, work this hamster wheel. And like I said, I did that for like 2 years, and I made up my mind like, nah, entrepreneurship is for me. I don't think people realize how hard it is to sell drugs in the streets, like how to make illegal money. And I did that great.
Yeah.
So my theory was like, if I can figure out, apply the same concept to a different product and do it legit, I'll win.
Yeah, I have the same idea.
You know, feds can't take it. Mm-hmm. Feds can't take it, but it took me working those jobs and seeing, like, I thought leave the streets, start working a job, because that's what they say, work the job, and boom, boom, not too many people become entrepreneurs and make it, you see what I'm saying? So it was like, it's the streets or you work at 9 to 5. That's all I knew. It wasn't too many entrepreneurs besides drug dealers. So I'm like, man, you 60, 17, been working here, I gotta go.
Yeah.
I gotta go. I remember the freedom I had when I was in the streets. It might not have been constructive activities, but I enjoyed the freedom, and that's probably why I was in the streets as much as I was in the streets, because I enjoyed the freedom doing what I wanted to do when I wanted to do it.
Yeah.
You know, and that leads me to Spokane, you know, and having a conscious decision of becoming a barber. Now people probably wondering how you become a barber. How'd you just pick out of thin air? How'd you become a barber? How'd you just go from there and go and barber? Well, I never really cut hair like that, but I've always been a fan of clippers. I was poor, so we couldn't afford to get haircuts all the time. So, you know, like the typical person does, they go, they buy a trimmer, or they find an old pair of clippers in the house, and you try to line yourself up or do whatever you do with them. And that's exactly how it started for me. It's just the only difference was I was just a little bit better than average. Even then, like, it wasn't the best. It was just, okay, if it was me or you probably choose me. You see what I'm saying? To line me up. You know what I mean? Or line you up, or try a little taper. My tapers was trash. Wouldn't taper, just bald and feathers some stuff. But line up style, I was all right. I always had, you know what I mean? I was always been able to, you feel me, see an image before it was actually there. So, you know, that's the key thing in barbering, is being able to see the product, the end result before it's there. So I was just good at that. So I always play with the clippers off and on. So my theory was, like, I always heard, if you're going to start a business, the ones that are the most successful are the ones that are able to turn a hobby or a passion into a business, getting paid for it. So the only other hobby besides selling drugs and playing basketball, that was way out the question. Now it's too late for that. I ain't even graduated from high school. So those are the other hobby I ever had, was picking up a clipper. You see what I'm saying? So I was like, well, everybody always told me I was decent. I think that would work. And not only that, I looked at haircuts the same way as I looked at selling dope. When I was selling dope or selling weed or whatever, I hit a fade, whatever, you know. I hit a fade and they're giving me $10, $15, $20, $30, $40 at a time. You see what I'm saying? Same thing with the haircuts. I bust out a fade, I'm getting between whatever I'm getting. It's the same thing. Right. Same way I had to go build the clientele out in the streets, as we called it, guerrilla marketing, is the same way I had to build it in the barbershop, going out and actually reaching the people, because the barbering, it's not a product I'm selling, it's a service. So, you know what I mean? The same way I had to build a relationship with the clientele in the streets, the same way I had to do, you know what I mean, with the barbering. So it just transitioned perfectly. I didn't know this per se at first. I just knew hobby. We turn this. I'm decent. I think I can with a little bit of training. I'm decent without training. With a little bit of training, I'm good enough. I know I could be good enough and make a couple dollars. But then I got into it and realized, oh, this is better than selling dope. Same concept, but it's legit. Feds can't come take it. But it's the same principle. Even like the whole thing of, like, the drug dealers being the go-to people, they fresh, they're the ones that, you know what I mean, are like the popular in the neighborhood. Now compare it to the barber. Same thing. Exactly. Barbers same.
Are always fresh.
So look fresh. Like, I call the barbershop the underground city hall. So you know, per se, all the business suit and ties may go to the city hall. All the rough around the edges come to the barbershop, but the two are trying to figure out the same information, what's going on and where is it going on at. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, of course.
It definitely
that's a interesting way to look at it, though. And the underground city hall, I like that.
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
man. That's exactly how I look at it.
So where did you came to Spokane, and this idea developed once you got to Spokane to get in the barbershop?
This idea developed already before I got here.
Right. Okay.
So literally, so maybe like 3-4 months before I got to Spokane, I started developing the idea of, the barber. Because I knew that was like the easiest way. I knew how to turn that profession into my own business. Like that was the easiest, quickest way. You know what I mean? Because I knew I wanted to be an entrepreneur, but I wanted a real business, brick and mortar, all that, like the storefront, all that. What can I do? And like, is it like, and this is the other thing, like a lot of times we have all these ideas, but are they realistic? You know, and sometimes you might have this big idea, but you might have to start here. Before you can grow and get to here. So again, you know, it's really deeper than the cut. I had an idea, how can I start a brand and then grow that, or start a business and grow that business into a brand. You see what I'm saying? And the barbering, like I said, the barbering was the easiest way for me. And so, yeah, man,
So you developed the concept in Moses Lake.
Moses Lake about 4 months before. 4 months, I think. About 4 months before, I gotta start a business. I gotta learn the business. Obviously, I didn't know exactly how I was gonna do it all, but I had the idea. I had to start a business.
Start moving on.
I had to learn the business that I start, and then I had to execute and actually turn that business mine. So once I was like, okay, that's the 3 points. Those are the goals. Okay, well, obviously, I gotta go to Spokane. I gotta figure out where I'm gonna stay at. I gotta figure out the school. I gotta figure out all these different things. So I literally moved here one day before I started barber school. Literally, like I moved here only to go to barber school. The plan wasn't to stay though.
Right.
That just happened. The plan was just to get the knowledge, the wisdom, and understanding. Because I knew I didn't want to be in Moses Lake no more. I was already there for a little bit of time. Knew like, nah, that ain't gonna work. It was either back to Tacoma, Chicago, or those two. I don't know. So I was like, the homie, like, man, or I knew a homie that I met in Job Corps. Again, Job Corps, game changer. A good friend of my family here that was like, man, he just happened to be going to barber school. Like, man, come do it with me. And this is my guy, like how TS is my guy. This is my guy. Mike, what's up, man? Smiley, my guy. But he convinced me to come out here and go with him. I was like, well, if I'm gonna do it, it'll probably be better. I'll probably be better off doing it with somebody I know. I could have did it when moved back to Tacoma.
That's why I was wondering why Spokane. So
I could have moved back I was gonna move back and move back to Tacoma and do it. But again, I'm young still.
Yeah, you knew.
I understood. I left for a reason, and I knew my mind wasn't where it needed to be to move back right then and there. Yeah, and I almost did it. But I knew if I would have went then, it would have been. It probably would have been bad for the worse, because it was still kind of early. You know, it was still kind of early. So I decided to do it in Spokane because it was a new environment. You know, it was from what I heard, the essence was different from what I was used to. So I was like, a perfect place to go and get focused and don't have to worry about the outside elements because nobody knows me. You know what I'm saying? So I could just go in there, get the game, and then take it back. I always wanted to take it back to Tacoma, like on some nip shit, like a long time ago, like bring it back. But then I just didn't want to do it then because I knew it just wasn't right. But then I come to Spokane the day before I start barber school, and like I said, the plan was only to get the game. I didn't know what I was going to do with it or how to do it. I just happened to be able to get into a barbershop that just happened to be one of the popular barbershops at the time, Quick's Barbershop. Shout out Quick because he gave me the opportunity. Yeah, and that's really where I learned, like, actual, like, I already had the entrepreneur skills just from the streets, but I got how to actually run the business I wanted to run, being at Quicks.
Because you essentially had your own business at Quicks.
Yeah, I had my own business.
That's where me and you met.
Yes.
So
exactly. So I had my own business. I was
just renting your chair.
Just renting a booth for private contractor.
Is your business.
Yeah, but I had the business, but I didn't know how to run the business because I ain't never ran a barber business. I cut hair before, but I ain't never ran it.
Right.
But this I already knew before I got there. I got to learn the business. So get into a barbershop and learn the business from the owner. You know what I'm saying?
Of course.
So that's what I did. And I didn't know that all this was going to go from it or come from it. I just knew, I can't try to be the best at this if I don't know nothing about it. See?
Oh, yeah. No.
You know what I'm saying? Or even not even be the best, let alone just be good at it.
Yeah.
Be successful at it. You know what I'm saying? So
I think it is wise to learn from somebody that's been doing what you've been wanting to do for some time. They have some experience that you can learn from. I worked in a screen printing shop for a couple of years, so I mean there's just it's just valuable knowledge there by working in or with people that are doing what you want to do.
I always tell people, man, hands-on experience is the best experience. So being able to get the hands-on and really like see how it was supposed to be done, and then being able to do it while I was being shown. Mm-hmm. You see what I'm saying? I'm
probably seeing things though too that it's like I won't do it that way.
100%.
Yeah.
But if that was the beauty about really, and I don't think nobody ever really said this publicly, maybe little conversations, but yeah, man, that's what I do appreciate about that barbershop.
Yeah,
you know what I mean, and that's why I mentioned it, is because it's not a competition thing with me. Like I learned a lot being there as far as like business and trying to establish a brand, like even past business, how to establish a brand. Because again, it was business for me. Like how can I start a business? But then eventually turned into how can I establish like a brand? Yeah, you know what I'm saying, to represent me and what I'm trying to say. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So. Yeah, man.
And is that when you started developing the name Local Legendz?
No, so I already had the name Local Legendz, but I used to go by a different name just to kind of throw everybody off. I used to go by Stay Ahead.
Say that again?
Stay Ahead.
Stay Ahead. Okay.
Stay Ahead.
Got you.
Just kind of throw everybody off. But again, Local Legendz. I came up with that name. Really. I came up with that name. When did I come up with that name? I've been having that name in the tuck for a while. Probably like around the time, I think right before. Yeah, it was right before I started working there. It was right before I graduated from barber school, actually. Nice. Because the reason why is because in the end of the books that they give you, the workbooks at like one of the last chapters, they tell you you have to do this. You have to come up with a name. And you got to come up with this whole business thing for your barbershop and all this. So it forced me to kind of come up with a name. And I wanted to come up with something that really represent me when I was trying to do. And I remember when I was younger, back in Tacoma, the homies used to have a little clique called Living Legendz. So it was like a little spinoff off of Living Legendz, because I wanted to... back then, we was doing our little thing, so it had like a negative connotation to it. Yeah. So I wanted to do a little spinoff that kind of represented where we come from, you know what I mean? And making it from where we come from, but put a positive spin onto it. So that's why I dropped the living, which, you feel me, we all live in legends, but put the Local Legendz. Because from where we come from, making out where we come from, man, we legends. At least where I am, or where I come from. Yeah. Ain't a lot of people that make it out where I come from. So I wanted to, so that's really how I came up with that name. But I just had it in a tuck for a minute. Yeah. And I think it just came off I wanted something that, I did a little research and like trying to build brands on it. And I always said like it has to be something memorable, something that's not like popular, like a popular name or saying, or it just has to be something that rolls off the tongue nicely, so I felt like that met all those expectations. Like just
definitely, man, it's a strong name, Local Legendz. I mean,
Local Legendz. And like I said, man, it just represents the journey, man. Like me being a local boy and now building this legacy, and hopefully when I, be deemed a legend at the end of this shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
yeah,
anything and everything in between. So.
Yeah, I like it, man. I mean, that's how I, look at what I'm doing with these interviews. Is like the people I'm interviewing, in my eyes, they are local legends, and they should be highlighted. You know what I'm saying? So I definitely like that, the vibe of the name, Local Legendz. I like what it stands for. I think it makes perfect sense for a barbershop, but it can be beyond a barbershop. And, you know what I mean?
And that's the thing, is
the versatility.
Yeah, man, deeper than a bar. Like the barbershop is how I tell people all the time, man. I tell people, man, the barbershop is just a launching pad.
Yeah.
Man, the barbershop is just, you feel me, was just that foundation that helped me exactly.
Yeah. That's why I tell people about my clothes with city chapters. I'm like, it's just a tangible product. And it's a catalyst, to get the name out there. But that's not what I, at the end of the day, want to be known for alone. Right. It's like the clothing, the product is a byproduct. It's a byproduct. Sure. We exist. Sure. That we're people literally have our back, and wear it on them and wear it on their back, their city or whatever. So.
Yeah, I definitely feel like I want it to be like our goal as far as like the brand is just to inspire, motivate, and empower the people, right? Because that's what kind of ultimately helped us get to where we get into, is just being inspired and motivated and empowered by whatever that was, right? So I feel like for me to fully be able to do that and reach that potential, I have to be of service. So the barbershop portion is just the of service part of it. My way of giving back. Like most people look at the barbershop as just a barbershop getting a cut. But I look at the barbershop as a way me to help build confidence and help raise self-esteem. That's why the motto on the barbershops, look good, feel great, do better. Because we believe that if you look better, you'll feel better, and then eventually you'll do better. Just because of that, when you look yourself in the mirror, I feel like confidence is key to any form of success. And if you ain't confident with thyself, like how you gonna be confident to tackle anything in this outside world? You see what I'm saying? So I feel like a wise man once told me, man, we get too caught up in making shit so complex as being humans because of this computer we call a brain. You see what I'm saying? We get caught up, and you gotta remind me, man, we gotta pay attention, stick to the basics. You feel me? Stick to the basics. So that's what I try to do, at least stick to the basics. And one of that is, man, if we're going to really change the world, like just do it one step at a time, man. Let's help boost his confidence and raise his self-esteem. And simple haircut can do that.
It does, man. Does it does. When I get my fresh fade, boy, I'm feeling myself.
Man, what? You walk different, you feel different, you talk different, you got that glow on you. People treat you and look at you different.
They
it's
do.
Just facts.
It's real.
It's just facts. So like that's the other part of it, right? Like I'm Aquarius, so I always I overthink. So everything I do is always is precise. It's for a reason. There's an intent behind everything. There's a motive behind it. Also, like everything that I do, because I spent so much time just not thinking and not caring and just being, you feel me? Just being however, that I told myself, man, once I figure this shit out, man, I want to do it the right way, and everything has to be, I got the mission, I got the vision, and everything got to be in line. You see what I'm saying? So this is just all part of that journey, man. All part of building that legacy. All part of that inspiring and empowering the ones that look up to me, because, you too. There's a lot of people that we don't see, and a lot of people that may not tell us, that sit in the cut and look at us and inspire and motivated, empowered by what we do. You see what I'm saying? And I understand that now. Before I didn't. You see what I'm saying? But I do now. And I feel like I have a responsibility, again, to go back, coming from where I come from. You know what I mean? A lot of people don't make it. The statistics, look at the statistics from the area I come from. It's you know what I mean? They're not the best. So I feel like, again, nothing less than a blessing. I have a responsibility. Like, I don't look at myself as a role model, a leader, none of that. I don't title myself that. I just title myself as just like Pac said, as corny as it may sound, a real model. Like, I'm just really just doing me, what I really feel is morally right to me and what's valuable to me. You see what I'm saying? And I feel like what I'm doing is right, and as long as I stay on my path, you know what I mean, it's gonna reach and affect those that it need to reach and affect, and vice versa to whoever else is in that, you know what I mean, following their paths. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's definitely deeper than, like I said, a cut, man. This is just the beginning of what the brand Local Legendz is. Again, it's really the journey. Like I said earlier, the journey and the ambition, the resilience, and the perseverance that it takes to get to wherever you need to go. You know?
Yeah, and it takes a lot. It takes a lot.
Shit's not easy.
No.
It really ain't.
No. So you learned the trade at Quicks, and then you start your own
so I probably
venture
was there
after that, right?
I probably was at Quicks for probably like, I'll say like 2.5 years. About 2.5 years. And really it's funny because like I don't think they know the story either. But like, I didn't even plan to leave Quicks when I left Quicks. Again, like I was telling you guys kind of off camera, I feel like everything happens for a reason. So like, it was a story. It's funny how it all comes full circle too, right? So I was actually going to go to a session at TS's studio, very first studio out here that just happened to be on Sprague as well, but right across in the valley, across the street from Winco. And for some reason, I was downtown. I live up north. I was downtown, and I didn't want to go how I needed to go to get on the freeway to get to his studio. So I'm so used to getting on the freeway one way. This is when I was new out here, so I didn't really know how to get around like that. So, but I knew Sprague, his studio was on Sprague, and Sprague was a straight shot. So I was like, all right, well, I was just pacing, going to the studio, like maybe like 1 o'clock, 12 o'clock at night, and I was on Sprague, drove past the barbershop. It had a for rent sign in it. I seen the for rent sign, but I really didn't pay no attention to it. Again, I know I wanted a barbershop, but I was thinking at this time, no, you got to have this much experience. This is how you know I was fresh to it all. I was thinking I needed a certain amount of experience before I can even try to go do something, right? So I'm like, I only been there 2.5 years. I need at least 5 years under my belt before I can even try to open up a business. What I'm thinking. So I'm driving, see it, don't think none of it, go to the session, do whatever we do, drive back. But before I leave the studio, for some reason, that building popped in my head again, like that for rent sign. And the whole time I remember driving down Sprague, I was like, after I seen that for rent sign, I was like, man, that looked like a barbershop. Like, it would be a cool spot for a barbershop. So I remember looking on both sides of the street the whole way there, looking for a barbershop. And at this time, it was early. This was 5 years ago. Wasn't no barbershops. This is before the remodel, everything. No barbershops nowhere. The whole way to Sprague. Maybe in the valley somewhere. Maybe it was like a little small one somewhere. But no barbershops. So I'm like, man, this would be a super dope spot to open a barbershop. And it's super busy on this street. But I'm still not thinking like this is going to be the barbershop. But so I'm driving. I pass it again. And something just tells me like, man, turn around. Turn around. Because I seen some writing on the for rent sign. It looked like, you know, like the old school, you get the for rent and you use black Sharpie or something. Yeah. So that's what they did. So in my head, I'm like, oh, it's not a major corporation. Yeah. It's private. Yeah. So someone was like, man, you should turn around, just, you feel me, get the information. So I bust the UE, turn around, I get the information. I didn't really thinking nothing of it. I'm just like, whatever. Call them. They like, yeah, man, come down here. We talk. You can check it out, whatever. So I get down there. The owner's down there. And there was a bunch of people coming in and out. And he was like, yeah, man, there's been a bunch of people was interested. So we just start chopping it up. Like, kind of like how me and you chopping it up. We just chopping it up. And we just start talking about a little bit of everything. And by the end of the conversation, he like, man, I don't know what it is about you, man. I like you. He was like, man, there's been a lot of people coming here asking about this, inquiring about this space, but man, I think I want to give it to you. I was like, man, and at this point, like, I only want to see, just because in my head, I want to see get all the information. What are these type of space costs? Can I even afford something like this?
Exactly,
like, what do I got to do to even try to acquire about these? So that's all I'm trying to get is just the information. So he like, yeah, man, if you want it, man, I'm willing to give it to you right now. So in my head, I'm like, oh shit, like I didn't even really come for this.
Yeah.
Like I did, but I didn't. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah. So I'm like, well, I'm like, all right, well, I see people walking in and out, so I'm like, yeah, all right, I want it. Not even thinking like how. I don't even know how I'm gonna pay for this and none of that. I'm just like, I know I've been saying I want a barbershop.
Yeah.
And it's fell in my lap.
Yeah,
and like I can't turn this down. Like I can't turn this shit down. Like, so I'm like, damn. All right, I want it just to hold the space. And then in my head, I was like, okay, I'm gonna tell him I want it, and then I'm gonna go try to figure some shit out. And if I can, I'm gonna come back to him and be like, whatever.
Yeah.
But I just need to tell him. I just need to say yeah, so he can hold it for me.
Yeah.
So he like, all right, well, come back in a few days. So when I told him, yeah, he's all right, come back in like 3 or 4 days. Think about it and come back. So I'm like, all right, perfect. All right. So I go, and really at this point, it was really a no-brainer, but I still didn't know, like, I'm at Quicks. I'm having the best year of my life in the barber game. I've only been in the barber game for 2.5 years. So I'm like I'm making, like, the last time I seen this fast money was in the streets. So I'm like, okay. And it wasn't that much because I wasn't, you know what I mean? I was still kind of young, so I wasn't like Escobar or nothing, but I was doing my stuff for the age I was, but the barbershop was a whole different game.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay. And so long story short, man, I was just like, if I don't do it now, there ain't no telling when I'm gonna get this opportunity, because deep down inside, I was using the 5+ years experience as an excuse to not pull the trigger.
Yeah.
And I knew that.
Yeah.
You know, and there was some other situations that I won't mention that circled around that kind of helped me make the decision to leave Quicks.
Of course.
See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But so that transpired, all that, it was just like, I have to. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because if I don't, I'll probably never, because I'm always going to come out with an excuse. Yeah. When that 5 year come, I'm like, nah, but I need another this, or I need this. So I did it. And man, it was hard, bro. I literally, because I didn't want him to leave this, take the spot and give it to somebody else, I left Quicks overnight. I probably should have did it a little bit better, but at the end of the day, like, you know what I mean?
It is what it is. You got
it is what I had to do what I had to do to, you know what I mean, capitalize on the dreams and goals I had. You know, like, it was dope being there, but it was like I had an opportunity to do it for myself. Yeah. You know what I mean? And I'm always respecting him because he gave me the opportunity, but the opportunity presented itself and I had to capitalize. Especially even with like the price, like I said, it wasn't even redeveloped when I got there. They developed it the same week I moved in. So the prices that I got it for, it was a grandfather price. I got it. You know what I mean? It was an old price. Yeah. So I was able to afford it in the beginning. Granted, I had to get a couple of jobs. I had like 3 jobs going hard. You know what I mean? Because I didn't know at Quicks I was doing real good. I had a nice clientele, but it's like I told you, I had to leave overnight, so I wasn't able to tell none of my clients. So I didn't know what was going to happen leaving Quicks and no clients knowing where I was going to be. You know, I was like, damn, man, how am I going to get through this? But I
didn't have your phone or nothing?
Well, yeah, some of them did, but some of them didn't, because, like, again, I was still new in the barbering thing, so I wasn't on top of like having some type of like
Rolodex.
Yeah, or just like having just being just on top of shit like that. Yeah. So it's like because we had so many walk-ins, because we already had our regulars, it was just like, well, I don't need your number because
you know where I'm at.
And again, I wasn't thinking about this. Like, I knew I wanted a shot, but I wasn't thinking then. So it was like, I wasn't even thinking like that. Just, you feel me? You know where I'm at. Yeah. So handful of people had a number. So I left, whatever. And yeah, man, it was 3 hours. I mean, 3 hours, 3 jobs, man. 3 jobs to try to, because I start living a certain type of lifestyle based upon the income I was making from there, I was making a cool little income. So it's like, how am I going?
That quick you were?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I got kids. I ended up having 2 more kids once I moved out here. So now I got 3. You know what I mean? Had 3. So it's like, how am I going to sustain the lifestyle for the family? You know what I mean? Me just leaving, not knowing how this is going. So I had to go get these jobs and for a shorter period of time and grind it out.
Yeah. So you jump in on this space, quit Quicks, and then
I get 3 jobs.
Get 3 jobs.
And on top of remodeling that space, I didn't tell you that part.
Yeah.
Space wasn't set up for a barbershop.
No.
So it was quit there, hop in here, have these 3 jobs to help me pay these bills until this space is ready. On top of that.
So okay, that makes a lot of sense now. You didn't even have the opportunity to work.
No.
And start cutting for how long did it take you to remodel the place?
It probably took about 2 months.
2 months?
Maybe 3 months.
Did you pay for all the hard costs of that?
Oh no.
Did?
No. So I did it myself.
You paid for all the
materials
and supplies and everything.
I pay for everything because that was part of the lease agreement. It was, I'm gonna give you this opportunity, and technically I really didn't qualify.
Right.
Technically, but because he liked me, he was like, I'm gonna give you this opportunity, but within those conditions, any type of, you know what I mean, renovations or upgrades, you're gonna be responsible for that.
Gotcha.
And I was willing to take that on the chin because I was like, shit. It's not every day you get these type of opportunities to get storefront property where the barbershop is today.
Yeah.
Like, you don't get those opportunities a lot. So, hell yeah, man. Let me get that. You know what I mean? Let me get that. So, like I said, man, about 3 months of renovating. And to be honest, like, it probably was a little bit faster than that, but it was to the point where I didn't even renovate it properly, to the point to where it was like, it was functional.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of people will tell you, man, it came in, but that's why, like, they respect me, because the journey, again, back to the journey, what it takes is like, a lot of people seen what the barbershop looked like when I opened up the doors. So when I moved there, it was another thrift store that wasn't the Blue Cat, it was Teen Challenge thrift store. You may remember, it was there for a while.
Which one?
The Teen Challenge thrift store.
Oh yeah.
So
yeah.
I bought a dresser. To those who are just starting, man, it ain't where you start, it's where you finish. Bought a dresser. I bought, like, and then dresser came with one of those old school mirrors. You know, where the mirrors used to come on, like the little dressers or whatever. So I had one of those. Extension cord. I didn't even have a flat screen TV. I had, like, one of them old ass flat screens, but with the backs on. With the back on the back, or the thing on the back, one of them big ass, at one of them, and like, and probably like some hanging lights or some shit. It was tacky as shit. It was rough, but man, them lights was on.
Lights were on.
Them lights was on. Them doors was open.
Had power to the buzzers, man.
But unfortunately it gets worse. But again, what's the hustle without the struggle? It gets worse. So now we finally get the lights on, barely. Finally get the doors open, barely. They break ground with the remodel.
Oh.
And I just happen to be directly in the middle. 6 blocks west, 6 blocks east. Directly in the middle. So now I'm thinking, okay, we finally got it to the point where we can, like, try to start making some money, try to recruit some more, you feel me? Clients and barbers and stuff. It's like, hold on, the people that we do recruit can't even get here. You tore up the front and the back. How they ain't supposed to get here now? Besides parking blocks down the street and trying to maze their way through. You know what I mean? Literally dirt everywhere. So yeah, man, we got through there. Thankfully, with the 3 jobs, man, working working overtime.
How long did that remodel last before you were able to have, like, a functioning, accessible barbershop?
Well, I told you, man, if it was for a few months, it was functionable, but, like, we updated it we ran it like that for a little minute, to be honest, man. We ran it like that for for like a year, like probably like 2 years, just to get the finances to, you know, because you making money, but you still got to put money in the business and you still got to pay your bills. Yeah. You know what I mean? So it took me a little time to slowly build my clientele again. Like nobody knew, like prior to the construction, because you got to remember the construction took 2 years.
That's what I'm asking.
Oh, okay.
How long?
Oh, I thought you were talking about the barbershop. Okay.
No, I was saying like how long did that remodel go that was like really hurting the business accessibility?
Yeah. About 2.5 years.
Yeah, okay.
Like the remodel, literally. Yeah. Like 2.5 years. It was supposed to be quicker. It lingered a lot longer than what it was supposed to.
So a few months, you get it ready. You're about to open doors.
As soon as I'm about to open,
construction starts. 2.5 years.
Literally.
Damn.
And it's crazy because I'm not gonna lie. There was a lot of businesses that went out. On Sprague, period. Mm-hmm. Like that's why now when you look on Sprague, the reason why there's a lot of new buildings or a lot of new businesses because the old ones didn't make it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. They you know what I mean. Unfortunately, they just didn't make it. I remember like Zips was talking about that Zips on Sprague. Like, thankfully, I think they're doing great right now. But I know they was even talking about like they might not be able to, you know what I mean, make it right there just because of, you know, the overhead and how it was. So it was about 2.5 years. So trying to build that clientele up, the thing that saved me though, right, was, you know, like I said earlier, I always try to have a plan, right? I always try to think. I'm an Aquarius. I think I'll overthink shit. So I knew that this was not. I didn't know about the construction, but I knew that it was gonna be hard. It was gonna be slow, and I knew that I was gonna have to figure something out. So those 3 jobs, one of the 3 jobs that I had, I made a conscious decision to get a job at Costco because I knew that would be a way to meet a bunch of people and pass out business cards. So that was one of the 3 jobs. So I got a temporary, like a seasonal job for 3 months at Costco. And the whole time I was at Costco. So remember, I was working in a barbershop 2.5 years prior to that. So my customer service was on point already. So I'm saying, like talking to people, being able to smile, how you doing, may I help you, everything, you know what I mean, find everything okay, like that was just on point. So I kept on getting all these, like when they first got me, they had me like pushing carts outside and doing just the typical whatever on newcomer stuff. Well, I started getting all these like these customers putting in a good word for me to the management. It's like, yeah, man, he's just very, very like excited about his job and very like, you know what I mean, welcoming and this. So they brought me from outside and put me not at the cash register because I didn't have the training, but they put me for the boxing because they wanted me to be at the cash register with the customers. Yeah. So when they put me there, bro, I had a pocket full of cards, and my whole mindset was like, okay, well, the whole time I'm here, because I know I don't want to be here that long. I just came out the barbershop doing my thing, and I'm not finna get back into, you feel me, this. Like, but while I'm here, though, I'm going to maximize it and capitalize on it. I'm going to hand out business cards all throughout the whole day. And it just happened. A lot of my clientele that was coming to see me at Quicks just happened to shop at Costco too. Yeah. So they're like, oh, LQ, man, I was wondering what happened to you, man. You just a bar, or you work here now? Like, yeah, I work here now, but I got the shop right here though. You feel? I'm still a barber. We just, you feel me, going through, you know what I mean, trying to figure some things out right now, transitioning and stuff. It's like, yeah, I've been trying to find you. So yeah, man, thankful to Costco, man. We was able to build a nice base of clientele to the point to where Costco was trying to offer me a job. You know, most people take that job. It's a great job, great benefits. They would have caught me before a barber. They probably would have had a lifer around this. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because it was dope. It was easy. It was good pay, great benefits, but it was nothing like when you get a taste of that barbershop life. It was not like that. So it created enough clientele to where I could stop denying that offer and go full time into the barbershop. And it was still slow, but again, man, you keep them lights on and keep them doors open, man. People will come, you know? Yeah. People will come. So yeah, man. So that's how we got to even that location, and it growing to what it's growing into now. But yeah, man, it was a struggle. But again, man, without the struggle ain't no hustle. Right. You know, forced me, like who like it ain't many that can endure just the first part of the business, or the first me starting my business. There's not a lot of people that can endure starting a brand new business, and then your street getting shut down for 2.5 years construction all around you, and then survive that and still come on, you feel me, make it out of that.
What year did you like first get this building, or you
I started renting it in 2016, I think.
16. So you have roughly
about 16, I think. 16, 17.
2.5 years. There's the construction, 2018, and so you get 19. You probably have some good runway there, and then COVID hits.
Then COVID. Yeah. It's definitely been rough, but again, man, brand speaks for itself. The name speaks for itself. Yeah. Ambition, resilience, and perseverance.
Yeah, I hear you, bro. I mean, I've hit so many challenging times with my businesses, and the ups and downs, and mine are different than yours, but they just come, and that's really what determines whether you can be a business owner or not, because it will break you down. It will break you down.
What?
It will break you.
It's a fact.
That's all I can tell you. Like, no matter who you are. And that's why I like that Perfect 10 song with Nip, where he's like, I'm not trying to set this poise here like I done always had it together. He's like, the only difference is that I just didn't give up.
It's a marathon. Again, it ain't how you start.
Yeah,
it's how you finish and continue. Because every finish line is a new beginning. So even when you do think it's done, it's just that chapter. On to the next.
Yeah, there's a lot of dark chapters in being a business owner.
For sure. But to be honest, like now, like where I'm at now, being a business owner for 7 years now, and actually having a building, or like owning the building for now a little over a year now. Yeah, it's like I wouldn't change it.
No,
I would not change it.
What were the alternatives?
Man, for real.
And like, even though it's hard and it breaks you, it's like that's the price I was willing to pay. This is what I signed up for.
Right.
So you just got to remember that sometimes when it gets really dark, or it's really like, damn, I don't know how I'm gonna get through this part. But it's just like remembering, like, nah, this is what I'd rather be going through than be working for somebody. Or right. Yeah, maybe I would have a little bit more money if I was working for somebody. In the short term, I'd have more money. Long term, I'm gonna make way more money doing this, So it's like always reminding yourself of those things. But yeah, so you just said you own the building now. So same landlord sells you the building.
Yeah. So let me see. So after the construction, we then renovated it to make it look a little bit more, welcoming. And the landlord appreciated it. I think he came by and checked it out, and I don't think he ever had nobody put that much effort into something that wasn't really theirs.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? But like he told me in the beginning, our very first meeting, he said, like, all I ask is for you to treat this building like it was yours. And I told him I would. And I'm a man of my word. And from then on, I knew I would have that building. I didn't know how, but I knew, like, if I'm treated like mine, it's gonna be mine.
Yeah.
Like, that was just my mentality.
Yeah.
So fast forward like 3-4 years later, he made his way back around to me with an offer I couldn't deny about buying the building that the business was in. And honestly, I know that was just based upon just relationship networking. Like, that's another thing. That's a big thing I learned in just business. This entrepreneurship journey, journey. I don't know what I just said, but is, man, your network equals your net worth. The relationships you built along this journey, man, is gonna dictate where you end up.
Yeah.
Ultimately, whether that's for bad or for the best, you know.
Yeah.
So, and that's just a perfect example.
Yeah.
Is he could have went to any other individual, more qualified individuals. Like, you gotta remember, once they remodeled that area, all those buildings start getting bought up. And his building looks a lot better than a lot of them that got bought up that they redid. So I'm saying, so I know he was getting offers off the AO. So the fact that he came to me, you know what I mean, that just speaks volumes that, you feel me, we had some type of relationship. And like, you know what I mean, it's just a reminder, man.
Yeah, it's like, you know, ordained, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like all part of the higher plan for you,
For
obviously.
sure.
Like, just
For sure.
him giving it to you initially to rent.
Right.
Because he likes you.
Right.
It didn't matter about the money. He
didn't
liked
matter
who
about
you
none of
were,
that.
liked
Right.
your energy.
Right.
I'm going to give it to you.
Right.
And like, man, this dude might be some type of angel for you. You know what I'm saying? Like, dude just is like, nah, I'm going to give this to you. I'm going to sell you this building. I got other offers, but I want to give it to you. You know what I mean? Like, setting you up for life, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like,
That really,
now you got this building with multiple units in it. How big square foot is the whole entire
it's
building?
a little over 4,000.
Yeah, sheesh, bro.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
4,000.
Like, you owning a 4,000 square foot building with multiple units in it.
1,500 of it is being turned into the salon again.
Yeah.
July 5th, we opening up 1,500 square feet of salon.
Yes, sir.
Come get it.
What's the name of the salon?
It's gonna be, if I'm not mistaken, Divina. Divina Beauties. Divina is the main name. I don't know if it's
Divina,
Beauty Salon or something, but Divina,
That's
which means divine in
Yeah.
Spanish.
Yeah.
I think. Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
I would say so.
Yeah.
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 I'm learning a little Spanish.
Yeah.
I haven't learned that word yet, but I would assume based upon what
Yeah,
I
my
do
lady's
know.
Latina, so yeah, she trying to
Divina.
put her little twist onto it. So, you know, we just trying to bring a
Divina.
little different Divina. I think so.
Yeah.
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 So yeah, man, it was just, man, it was a blessing, man. But again, it goes back to the beginning, man.
Yeah.
About just here for a real reason. Like, there's no reason why I was one of the few to make it past why I made it past. But that's why, again, like, I feel like there's a special like, I have responsibility, you know, come from being one of the few to do it right.
Yeah.
It's so easy not to, like, you know, a lot of times we get these people with these platforms that's not really utilizing them to the best of their ability. And I understand it. Like, I understand, you know what I mean, business and the art of making money, you know, and shock value. Like, I get it. But I feel like, more importantly, man, if we really want better for the future, like, if we don't care about the future, if we only care about right now, then continue to do what we do, you feel me? Continue to capitalize off of shock value and not provide any real substance and value. But if we really do care about the future like I do, I got 3 little chillions that got living this life in this world after I'm gone. You feel me? I feel like while I'm here, they straight because I got the perspective and I got the experience. But shit, what happens when I'm gone? You feel me? So I got to try to, you feel me, prepare a table for them to eat when I'm, you feel me, up out of here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And the only way to do that is, man, we gotta show and prove, man. Show and prove.
Yeah, definitely, man. And I mean, you know, creating content that is real, authentic, and speaks to the challenges of life, and not trying to act like, yo, we're all super models and
Right.
super rappers and like all this facade bullshit, man. Like, that's, I think, one of the biggest problems. Everybody's trying to live this facade right now, like they something special. We all special.
Yeah, we all special.
But not special in the fact that there's a lot of this arrogance of people thinking they're better and more special than the next person,
right,
because they got more followers, or
right,
they got something nicer on, or whatever the case may be. You know, obviously it's just a lot of lack in what we see as being predominantly cool in our society.
Right.
You know, there's a lot of good stuff going on, but you don't see it because that's not what is. The light's not shown on that. It's not magnified.
Right.
And we got to start trying to figure out how we can magnify what it means to be authentic, to be real, to have the real conversations about what life is, and not just be on this surface level bullshit, which I can't stand. That's why I don't really be around a lot of people no more, man, because every time I go out, and I just don't relate to a lot of things going on in like normal society environments. Right. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's just not for me anymore. And, you know, I'm hoping this podcast will, one, it gets me to sit down with people I know can like think similar to me, can have conversations like this. I love having real conversations. So sitting down on this podcast is partly selfish, because like I just want to have real conversations. Right. And if I set intention on sitting down with somebody, I know I'm going to have that real conversation in that point in time with them, you know, instead of leaving it up to chance that I might run into this person or see this person, you know, or the universe is going to bring me to this person by some random chance. With the podcast is intentional. You know, my list is already so long, and all these people are amazing, and these are just people I could really think off the top of my head. Right. So, you know, getting these real conversations out there, I think is going to be helpful. You know, and the other thing too is like, how do you create opportunities that people can be excited about that are going to change their life? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, how do you create opportunities for young ones to really become educated and knowledgeable, but they're excited for it? You know what I'm saying? And I just feel like there's just, the more opportunity we can create, there's plenty of opportunities out there. Mm-hmm. But I don't know why, to me, they just seem elusive. You know, opportunity seems elusive. I don't know if that's just kind of the challenge of life, or if there's a failing in the way we market opportunity, or the way that we try to kind of like, oh no, opportunity is only for the select few. You know what I mean? How do we create something to where opportunity and yielding opportunity and finding opportunity, that's what's cool, that's what's sexy, that's what's gangster, you know what I mean? And I mean positive opportunity, you know, opportunity that's gonna benefit your life and everybody that's around you, and that ends up being your community, your city.
I feel like those are actually great points. I feel like people gotta, a big problem, at least for me, was the lack. I used to think the lack of opportunity, and what I realized throughout the journey, it wasn't the lack of opportunity, it was a lack of vision, seeing opportunities I wasn't used to seeing because of the lack of experience. You see what I'm saying? So I think a lot of times it's not the lack of opportunity. Well, it could be based upon your perspective, but like Nip said a special thing. He said he was just one of the few ones that just recognized and understood what he was looking at it. He understood what he was looking at when he was looking at it. You see what I'm saying? So I just feel like we just gotta like make more of an effort to try to understand more what we're looking at and what we're looking for. And I feel like a lot of times we don't see these things is because we don't even know what we want. You know, so we ain't even clear with ourselves what we trying to look for or what we trying to do. So now it's just, at this point, it's like whatever catches my attention or what I've been conditioned to go through or see. You see what I'm saying? At that point. But then when you make, like you say, set your intentions, then it's like now you're searching for, you feel me, different things, because we all know, again, doing the same thing, expecting different results is insanity. So now it forces you to try to look for something different. Experience something different, and with those come a different opportunity. because you're just searching in a different place. And that's what I realized about me. And once I realized about it wasn't, because that was just an excuse, the opportunity. Yes, limited resources for sure, but like in those same environments that I grew up in, same people made it out. Like I tell the story all the time about like how I used to go to school with a couple of different athletes, like Desmond Trufant. Shout out Desmond Trufant. You feel me? Plays for who he played for now. I don't know who he played for now, but he played for the Falcons. I went to school with him. He grew up in a maybe not the same blocks I grew up in, but he grew up in the same neighborhood. Isaiah Thomas, played for the Celtics, same one. He grew up in the same environments I grew up in, maybe not the same block, but the same environments. Avery Bradley, these are all athletes, or these are all people that grew up in the same area as me, but now are multimillionaires. Figured it out. Yes, it was sports, but what I'm saying is it was an opportunity that me or somebody else may not have seen or thought was likely or able or possible. But obviously people showed that it was. We come from the same place you come from. We figured it out. It was just the vision was different at the time. So I feel like, man, we gotta set our attentions and figuring out who we are first, and then what we want. Because if you don't know who you are, it's impossible to figure out what you want.
Yeah, definitely. I hear what you're saying. For me, it's like I just think there's a way we can promote opportunity better.
Yeah, for sure.
Like make it so it's more like, oh, that is possible. I could do that. Because, in school and everything, like they're really not promoting a lot of opportunity other than the same trajectory, which is either, the negative side, like you're not going to ever be nothing because you're a bad student right now, and you're going to tear that student down, or you're going to support that student if it's in a good environment and try to help him understand he can get into college. You know what I mean? But there's so many opportunities in this world now. There's so many ways to make money now. There's really no need for individuals to live certain lifestyles other than they come from that environment that's still dealing with that generational cycle, or they're being manipulated, which I think is the bigger thing at play now by the music industry, to live a certain lifestyle that's not real in movies and shows and all that. Like, we have to learn how to figure out some separation of what's real and what's not, you know what I mean? And kind of stop glorifying the bullshit that a lot of these individuals aren't living, and then there's a lot that are living. But look what happens to them. They create their own demise. You know what I mean? And like even these dudes that are at the top tiers getting RICO indictments and
for sure
getting murdered. And I mean, if that's how you think you want to go out in the blaze of glory, I can see it, but at the same time, like the goal is to win the game. If you get caught up, if you get caught up and spend your life in prison, if you get murdered, you didn't win the game, bro. No matter what you accomplished up to that point, you didn't win, bro. And it's about winning and surviving and staying up out the way. You know what I'm saying? To me, that's how I view it. But, and I don't always know what I want to live for. You know what I'm saying? I just know I want to live, because I know the more, the longer I give myself to live, the more opportunity I have to figure this out. You know what I'm saying? So I guess that's really something of why I changed my life. I don't want to spend my time in prison, and I don't want to be dead, because I'm not ready to go. I don't feel like I've done enough yet. So I'm going to do what I can do to make sure I avoid those things, because that shit ain't the answer for my life and what I feel I'm here to do, you know?
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. I agree. I feel like to try to help answer that question, because I be having that question all the time, is like, what can we do to try to promote better opportunity? I feel like today is, as Nip, and I always refer to Nip because you feel me, Nip was that guy. Nip didn't just teach, but he showed. He showed and proved. He showed and proved, and it's a different. A lot of people talk. A lot of people don't have. You feel me? don't have the actions to back up that talk though. And he was one of the few that did. But what was I going with? Oh yeah, so I'm about to I lost my train of thought. Oh yeah, that's what I was about to say. We live in like a gold rush era as far as like the internet, right? So I feel like to answer that question, what we do is, I feel like the most valuable currency today is what? Information, right? So like the saying goes, if you knew better, you do better. And the difference between today and yesterday was yesterday, that saying wasn't really true because it cost so much. It costed the people so much to know better. You had to go, you had to have a certain amount of money to go to this college to get this certain type of information, do this, do that. Everybody wasn't privileged to that. You had to go through all these what we call gatekeepers. You see what I'm saying? And they decided who got information and who didn't get information and who was charged and who wasn't. So if you were somebody that wasn't making a certain caliber of money, you wouldn't be privileged to this information. So now that I say gold rush because now we got the internet, and like it's like, again, I look at everything, right? I try to look at the whole landscape, you know what I mean? Keep it simple, because then you can understand the complex if you understand the basics. And you see, like, you always hear this company, this major company over here, oh, your information got stolen or it got leaked. Information didn't get stolen or leaked. It was sold. Why? Because of value in knowing. Why? Then you can market the way you need to market to individuals. You see what I'm saying? So I feel like what you're doing right now with like city chapters, just high elevated conversations. You know what I mean? Like Pac said, I won't be the one that changed the world. I will plant the seed that sparks the brain, change the world. You see what I'm saying? So having these high level conversations, information, again, if you knew better, you do better. You know, the reason why these people are now online, you see all these people making like 5, 6, 7 years ago, everybody was selling curriculums, right? Like, oh, we're gonna give you this game, a little piece of game, and then you got to come back and you got to buy this. Now we're in an era where everybody's giving away for free, because they understand that now that we have this platform called the internet, YouTube. You can give away the game for free, get what you want, the followers and the likes, and still get the bag. You see what I'm saying? And still get the bag from the sponsorships and all the other shit that comes with the views and the likes. You see what I'm saying? So now it's like there's no reason. So even though it may seem like on the outs, like, and it's a lot of bullshit going on, like it's a lot going on right now in today's world, a lot going on. But under all that, it's a lot of great shit. Like I feel like we never been in a time like today where so many people are getting the right information and doing dope shit with that information. And even if they don't do it with nothing right now, it's like the fact that you even have opportunity to get a piece of information. We all got fucking Google right in palms of our hands. It's insane, bro. That's what I'm saying.
But we have it in our possession.
That's what I'm saying. So it's like anything you want to know, it's at your fingertips. It's at your fingertips. It's at your fingertips. So now, somebody that has the experience like yourself to go through what you went through, those struggles, those trials and tribulations, know who you are now, went through the battle, went through them wars, you know what I mean? Now you can utilize that platform that everybody has access to, you feel me? And make your message go viral. You see what I'm saying? And that's how we, you feel me, change, because again, information is more value than $1 today. Information, as long as that information can help the person on the receiving end of that information, as long as it can help him for better, whether it's a little or a lot. So I'm saying people are willing to do whatever they can do for that, because for so long, we know the history. It's like a lot of things have been marketed, and a lot of people have been conditioned for the wrong reasons. So when now people get this information, they're like, well, shit, we can't trust that source. We got to do this source. You see what I'm saying? So.
Yeah, man. Information is power for sure.
Information.
And I think we're both now at a point in our journey where we're young men, I feel that at the, well, you've had children, so I think that would have encouraged you to become a man prior to when I would have considered myself a man. But regardless, I feel like 30s for a lot of people is like really when you actually kind of start feeling like an adult, you know what I mean?
For sure.
Even though you had kids, you were still so young.
Yeah, kids just forced me to pay attention more. It didn't turn me into a man. It just forced me to pay attention more. And then the things I start paying more attention, the things I start focusing on more is what turned me into a man.
Right.
That's what I'm saying. So,
and I feel like, again, recently that I can consider myself a young man. I feel like I'm living myself as a man should. My brother and me were talking the other day, like what really qualifies a man, and my definition was a man is a male that can consistently make the right decisions for himself, no matter how big or small they are. No matter how big or small, you consistently are able to make that right choice for yourself, depending on your principles, morals, those types of things. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's really, to me, what a man is. Like, you, most of the time, make the right choice.
Yes. And the only thing I would add to that, because I agree with that, the only thing I would add to that, and I'm glad that you cleaned that up at the end most of the time.
Yeah.
Because the only thing I would add is, and the times that they don't, they can admit to it and correct it.
That's huge. That's huge for sure. You have to have that humbleness, that, what's another word? Humility. To admit you're wrong. Like, that's huge. I think that's a great add-on because I can't stand individuals that can't admit they're wrong. When you're blatantly wrong or you blatantly hurt somebody, you blatantly did your homie wrong and you ain't never gonna apologize about it. And that's why we can never move forward and grow past a certain situation. Because I'll say sorry. I have no problem saying sorry. But that toxic masculinity of like never apologize, to me that makes you weak. You know what I'm saying? And the individuals that can say and apologize, I think they're the strongest individuals. You know what I mean? And so the viewpoints on what it means to be a strong man needed change as well, and I think it is. I think those things are changing. I think these conversations are being had in private a lot. For sure. I know there's other podcasts out there, I'm sure, that talk about these same things. There's no doubt. But the more that we can get this stuff out in the open, and especially within just our local environment, having these type of conversations is going to be huge, because I know there's a lot of lack in Spokane of it, and when you do find somebody that likes these types of conversations, they're like, it's so hard to, find people to have these type of conversations with. So, with this podcast, these people will be able to find out about others that think at least alike them in the city, and that might help them support our businesses and all of that. But, we've been going like 2.5 now, I think, roughly. So we'll wrap it up. But do you want to close out with once again where your where Local Legendz Barbershop is located and the new salon going in?
For sure, man. 1917 East Sprague, Local Legendz, where handcrafted precision meets excellence every time. Look good, feel great, you do better. These are facts. We got the Divina Beauty Salon. Don't mistake. I don't know. Don't quote me. I may be wrong. Divina though. I don't know about the rest. Divina, right next door to the barbershop. So if you Google Local Legendz, Legendz with a Z, not with a S, with a Z, and then come next door, man, the salon's there, so you can't get lost.
And it's on Sprague and Napa too.
Sprague and Napa.
Yeah.
Sprague and Napa.
There it is.
Yeah,
there's LQ with Local Legendz. Brother, it's been a blessing having you on.
I appreciate you, my guy, man. It's
no doubt.
A pleasure, man. It's my pleasure.
I'm your host, Bobby J, and this is City Chapters Podcast.
I mix my humble beginnings with winnings and chemists as far as I know. Whoa, sugar and spice, I'm everything nice. I give you advice, they give you a price. If you paid attention, you'll see what I'm kicking. I'm wasting your money by saying it twice. Shit is a game, you wanna complain, you blaming your L's on the dice. Mama just whipped up the cobble, so I had had to call it a reserve a slice. Whole fam gotta eat. Closed mouth don't get fed. So all I had to do is speak. Now I'm talking myself in the